Welcome back, Chico and the Grin, episode 16. We're live. We're here in Harlem.
Yes.
I'm half your host, Chico, and I'm with...
The Grin.
And we are bringing you episode number 16
That's such
live.
a funny intro.
I've been working it every day. I think about it. Every day I think about how I can make it better and sound more like a radio personality, like an asshole with that wears big headphones. So we're here, and we have a lot to talk about today. Some current events,
So much been going on.
Yeah, some entertainment news. We have a little bit of a different setup. I know
Art
you can't
news.
see art news.
Yeah.
I know you can't see us, but we're doing something a little different. We have some new microphones, so the
Yes.
audio quality should be a little bit better.
Yes.
Smalls will be standing up and talking to the microphone while he paints. So this is going to be interesting to see if this changes his creative process at all. What do you
Trying
think?
something different.
Do you think it's going to have any effect on your work?
I don't know. I've been in the groove lately, and I've been coming home every night painting, drawing. So I'm just trying to keep it going.
Yeah.
I don't want to stop. I just want to keep the momentum flowing. And since we have to record, fuck it. Let me paint and record at the same time.
I like trying new things, and I can see you're sort of in a groove because you've got one painting that's what would say like 50% done on the easel.
What, this one?
Yeah, what do you think that is? If you had to give it a percent.
Nah, it's not even 50%. It's just, I just started. I'm just
Okay.
laying the grayscale. Matter of fact, if anybody's on Instagram, you can see this right now on the Instagram story.
Check it out.
Yeah, I've been trying to up our social media presence.
Mm-hmm.
So posting a lot, posting on a regular basis. But I just started doing what's it called? IG live video?
Yeah.
Or Instagram stories. So you can see what we're doing. You can see exactly what's going on right now. Because I'm gonna take little snippets of it tonight.
Well, there you go, guys. Another reason to follow us on Instagram and other social media. But like I was saying, I can see you're in a groove because you've got one painting that's just started with a very light sketch. You have two paintings over here that I've seen you've been working on for the past couple weeks. They look phenomenal. The one you're working on right now. It looks good. There we go. So let's get things started off. I know you've had some interesting... Well, let me leave it to you. What do you want to talk about? Because there's two things that you've got fired up about lately. One of them being your apartment hunt that was all fuckery.
Yeah, man.
And then there's... what was the other thing? There was something else you were pretty passionate about that we were just talking about.
Let me start with the apartment thing
All
first,
right,
because
let
that
us
was
know.
that really pissed me off. So, I've been in my apartment for about 7 years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. I've been in Harlem. Harlem's, matter of fact, long story short, this has been the longest place I've ever lived in my life. Ever. I lived in many cities, I lived in many residences, but I never lived in a place more than 5 years consistently
Is that different for you?
in my life. So it's not different, but it's just it's weird, and it's I lived all over the United States. I lived in Jersey, I lived in Brooklyn for a little bit. I lived in Harlem, but this apartment
I
alone.
remember your Brooklyn spot.
Yeah.
That monster dog that lived next to you that almost fucking murdered me. I was fucking so scary.
But this apartment, I've been in here for 7 years. So it's wow.
That's a long time.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, well, it's time for me to upgrade. Me and my girlfriend, we're getting serious. I mean, we've been serious, but we're trying to make it to the next step. So it was like, all right, we get bigger place, and so we do the whole apartment hunt thing, man. It going into it, we were like, yo, we need a lot of money. Fine, we had that.
It's I think you'll agree. Apartment hunting in New York City is a unique form of torture.
It's a fucking pain in the ass. So we go into it yo, we need money, got that. Credit, got that. Okay, now let's just go in there and then whatever other bullshit they throw at us, we'll handle. Man, we see some amazing apartments. Matter of way, you can find, if you go from 1,500 to 2,000, that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You go from 2,000 to 2,100, that's a humongous difference.
Is it a big jump?
You can see humongous apartments for 2,100. Yo, man, some of the places we saw were just you gotta be fucking kidding me.
That much bigger?
It's off of TV shows big.
What?
And they were all rent-stabled. I was like, you're killing me with this shit. So anyways, the rant and the thing that got me heated, because this shit got me heated for weeks, right? Me and my girl, we went through it for it's stressful, man. Because you go through an apartment, you see the shit, and they're like, okay, you need to have this, you need to have that. Oh, this whole checklist, you're we got all that.
Right.
And then these fuckers would be like, well, you have this mark on your credit from 5 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, and my credit score is fucking 750 or whatever. And I got money in the bank. What's the problem? Oh, well, because you got this mark on your credit, we're not gonna fuck with you. And we're like, are you kidding me?
That's crazy.
Yo, and then on top of that, you got to pay the fucking application fee. So I'm like, yo, my man, you sitting here wasting my fucking time, showing me all this shit. I'm filling out this paperwork. I'm giving you all my fucking information, bank statements, social security, all this
you're
stuff.
proving you can afford to live
And then
there.
you're fucking telling me no over a blemish. Like they told me so much shit, you know, right? Because there was a time when I was unemployed. And I was like, fine, I was unemployed. I took a couple of financial hits. Fine, I recovered. I made my money back. Got my shit straight, right? On my credit, it's good. But these fuckers, and like, yo, to hear somebody tell you, oh, I'm not gonna rent to you because I just don't know. What the fuck you mean you just don't know?
It's a motherfucker. Everything.
Like I make
it's
like
fucked up.
like
It's
the
fucked
rule
up.
like the rule of thumb in New York is like you make 40 times the salary to get an apartment.
Right.
Whatever your rent is, you make 40 times the salary, right? Unless it's like some ridiculous shit, then you like 2 people.
Yeah.
But either way, you make 40. That's the rule, 40 times the salary. And I'm like, yo, 2 people, we make way over that. Great jobs, great career, stable people, right? No kids.
And one little blemish fucks it up.
I was like, yo, my man. And then they pulling shit out for my girl. They pulling shit out for me. I'm like, y'all, it's another form of discrimination.
They're looking for a reason not to rent to you.
Yo, it just got me furious.
Do you think that's what that was? Do you think they were just looking?
yeah.
They were digging for a reason
Hell
not to.
yeah. And then it was like and then I told my girl, I was like, yo, just I was like, fuck it, because whenever I got an apartment on my own, I never went through a realtor.
You did it on yourself.
I did it myself. So I was like, yo, let's just go straight to the fucking owners or the landlords and all that, right? So we did that. And another guy, he was like, yo, he was like straight up, he's like, I don't even live here. He didn't even live in the States. He lived in Scotland, straight up. No, I'm sorry, Ireland. Straight up. He's like, he's like, I own this building. He's been coming to New York for years, but he retired in Ireland. This is just one of his
Is he
properties.
American or is he Irish?
He's Irish.
Okay.
So I was like, I get it. He's like, I don't care who rents it. I just want the money. He told us, he's like, I don't care if you want it this week, you can have it this week. I don't care. I just want the money. And it was a nice apartment, kind of small, perfect location. So I was like, cool. This guy seems straightforward. Same thing. Do all that shit. And he tells us, like, no, I don't feel comfortable. It was like, I'm a small business owner. This is my one property.
And this is the same guy who said he didn't care?
Nah, the same guy who said he didn't care. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? He was like, oh, well, I was like, you talking to me about, because I checked my credit report.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, I see everything. Like, ever since this whole process, I made sure every single blemish on my credit report is supposed to be there.
Yeah.
They had some shit where, like, my name was missing. I was like, no, take that off. That's not my name. Everything on my credit report, I was like, I'm thorough about everything. And I was like, oh, y'all want to be little pricks about it. Let me make sure every little thing is supposed to be there. Whatever is like spelling error. Oh, you spelled the city wrong. Don't care. Take that shit off. Seriously. I was like, I filed so many disputes in this past 2 weeks. I was like, this is bullshit. And this dude was like, yo, I don't feel comfortable renting to you. I was like,
but didn't he just say he didn't care?
That's what I'm saying. I was like, we got them. We have the money. It's not even a financial thing. I was like, you're just full of shit.
That's crazy.
Yo, that's why I was like, we were supposed to record
right
last week, and I was like, I can't. I'm just
it's fine. It's understandable.
Yo, it was so much shit, and it's like, you know, my girl, she's getting her hopes up, and then I'm getting my hopes up, and then it's like we didn't get it. But the good thing was, like, I've been at this building for so long, and I didn't renew my lease. So last minute, I'm like, I called my landlord, and I'm like, yo, this is my situation. It was like, yeah. I was like, yo, man, can I just stay here? It was like, of course. It was like, what the fuck? It was like, of course, no problem. I was like, but listen, I want to upgrade. It was like, of course. It's like, dude, you've been here for so long.
Right. And you don't cause problems.
Yeah, they was like, you don't have to worry about nothing from us. You're good with us. He's like, all them other people, they was like, don't worry about that. He's like, you're good with us.
So is there any way you can get a bigger apartment in this
building?
building?
Yeah, I'm on a waiting list.
Okay.
So it was like, everything, it worked out.
What's the rent like in this building?
I'm not gonna say on the mic,
but like generally, like if you had a guess for a 2-bedroom apartment in this building,
it's the average.
So what, 23?
No, lower.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say I'm gonna say that you can ask me off the mic.
No, I know how much you pay for this spot.
For this spot,
yeah, I'm just saying. What do you think in general this building is?
I would say the average is like 21.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty
for
good
a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom.
2-bedroom. Now you got to remember that my 1-bedroom, I've been here for a couple years, so every year it goes up.
Right.
Right. But also, you know what? I can't even go into that.
I get it.
I got hooked up because when I renewed my lease, they were like, my rent was actually lower, and I was like, how? And they were like, because they had a revalue on the whole building. I was like, word.
Wow.
Everything worked out.
There you go.
Everything worked
That's
out.
good.
But for like a while, man, even me and my girl, we were beefing. It was like, and we weren't beefing at each other. We were just beefing because the situation, both of us, it was just stressed the fuck out.
Yeah.
It was like, how? Like, my man, you know me. I'm all about being independent.
Right,
I'm all
of
about
course.
not relying on the system or relying on anyone else to do my shit. So when someone tells
You mean you don't rely on the government? You don't enjoy relying on the efficiency of our United States government and how it treats people?
self-made, man, so it's like,
No, I hear you.
when someone tells you that they're going to deny you something and you're like, why are you denying me? And they can't really give you a straight answer. It's like, this is bullshit. You know it's bullshit.
It's a technicality.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is bullshit, B.
Man, that is the story of anybody in New York City who's not white and has to find the fucking apartment, or who's not rich. It's insane.
I think it's gotten worse since I moved into this building. It's like, because of all the gentrification going on in New York, it's fucking ridiculous.
Every place is super picky about who they admit. You know how you always hear stories about people like not like so, like for example, the OJ. When OJ was rich and he moved into Brentwood in California, he was the only black dude in that neighborhood. Like, and then there's the homeowner association, and they always give you shit because you're the one like black person in the neighborhood. I feel like that's what's happening in this city. Even buildings, like getting an apartment in a building isn't as easy as it used to be.
Look at Jay-Z. He got denied.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like years ago, he got denied from a building in Manhattan. It was like, no, because they don't like the element that he would bring to the building. I was like, this was before he made all that title and all the New York, what's it called?
Nets.
The Nets.
The
Yeah,
Brooklyn
before all
Nets.
that shit.
Yeah, but even then he had millions of dollars.
Yeah, and they was like, nah, we don't want you in this building. I was like,
And it was the same thing happened to
what?
the same thing happened to there was another person that happened to. It happened to I think Puffy as well.
Probably.
And it happened to Justin Bieber actually. Because when he was going through that whole phase where he was just getting like fucked up and crashing cars and having parties and smoking weed. Like he had a condo in California and it was Miami. And they wanted to evict him because he kept having all these crazy parties, and the neighbors kept complaining. They just kept smelling weed come through the vents. And they were like, they want him out. And I feel like that's what's happening with a lot of these buildings in New York City, where like it's now like a homeowners association where you can't do anything because you have to like appease everybody in the building, no matter what you're doing.
It's like the areas of Brooklyn I used to live in, they were known for having like block parties, right? At Fort Greene Park.
I miss those.
They would always have like the DJ.
They don't do those anymore.
No.
They don't do
Even
those
Mr.
anymore.
Frosty can't go to certain neighborhoods.
That's crazy because all these white people moved into these brownstones.
You can't
and
have
you
Mr.
can't.
Frosty.
That's crazy. That's a New York City institution. Our first accident of the day. The fucking cannabis fell, tried to kill John Smalls while he was using a bandana. That'll work just fine. So John just tied a bandana around the microphone so that it would stop drooping, and in the process, knocked down his easel or his canvas, and almost killed himself. Almost died death of 1,000 splinters. So apartment hunting in New York City sucks unless you're rich and white. And if you're anybody other than white and don't have $1 bazillion, then you can expect to get fucked with.
Yep.
Even over a minor small blemish in your credit history.
There's 3 credit companies, right? It's like the Experian and Equifax are bullshit.
Yep.
No, I'm sorry. It's Equifax and TransUnion.
TransUnion.
Experian's the main one.
Right.
Right. So I paid for all 3. I was like, I want to know what these guys are looking at. And I look at my shit and I'm like, this is nonsense. Like I look at my credit report, I'm like, this is nonsense. You're just being picky.
Yeah.
You know?
I've started the past year. I've been a lot better about my finances and looking at my credit and making sure that things are better. I mean, I was surprised when I saw my credit that it was back up to where it used to be because my credit was fucked up for a long time.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it happens. Especially when you're 19 years old and American Express gives you a platinum card because your credit is good. This is pre 2008.
Yeah.
So young credit. My credit was like 820 or some shit, and they gave me a platinum card, and then I lost my job that I was making good money at, so I had to live off my credit cards and ended up with some serious debt that fucked me up.
Yeah.
Which shout out to Capital One for always sticking by my side. Capital One, I'll be with you forever until the day I die because y'all did not cancel my card on me. I literally called and I was like, I can't make the payment. I've got no money. I'm broke, and I'm probably gonna be evicted from my place. And they're like, don't worry, pay when you can.
Wow.
The lady literally said that. I'm like, are you serious? She goes, yeah, I'll put it in the notes that you're struggling, you're a young guy. Make the minimum payment when you can. And I was like, really?
Wow.
And she was like, yeah. And ever since then, I paid. I paid off all that debt.
Yeah.
I'm back. And I've been building my credit ever since.
Economic hardship.
Yep. And I'm back to one. You just got paint all over the microphone, the cord.
Oh, fuck it.
You're gonna get it all over your shirt. You're gonna touch the cord. I can see it.
Yeah.
It's right there. Oh, you just touch it. Turn around. Right there. Bam. There we go. Victim number 2, the cord. So that was our rant on apartment hunting in New York City.
Yeah, man.
The next thing we're going to talk about, I'll let you choose, Smalls, because you have a lot of things you'd like to rant about. I'll yell out the topics, and you let me know which one you want to scream about first.
Let's take it back to let's stick with art for a second.
Okay, you want to talk about art? Let's talk about art.
So there's been a big rah-rah about the Obama paintings, the portraits.
Oh yes, the Obama portrait, the Obama and Michelle portrait.
Yeah. So,
what do you think about that? Because I saw it.
I love Kehinde Wiley.
Okay.
I have his books. I've been following him for years.
He's a very well-known artist.
For decades. The man put me on to John Singer Sargent, who was because John Singer Sargent is his inspiration.
Right.
And I love John Singer Sargent's work. I love Kehinde Wiley's work. And I just found out today from another podcast that because my biggest complaint about the Obama, this particularly Barack Obama's painting, because that's the one that Kehinde Wiley did.
Yeah.
Was I was like, why is he sitting down? Because Kehinde Wiley does these poses that are so powerful, right? But the thing was, it was like Barack had said that he didn't want Kehinde making him look like all like Napoleon and shit because he just got out of politics.
Right. He doesn't want to be thrust back into that.
So choose a pose that's like real calm down and tame. That's why Barack is sitting in the chair in the garden. And I was like, all right, I get it now. But before I was like, what the fuck? Why ain't you some? And everybody was like, well, yeah, he didn't want him to do that. Right. But Michelle's, I ain't gonna lie. The Michelle.
Did he paint Michelle's as well?
No. That was another artist. Okay. There's a female artist from Baltimore. I'm sorry, I don't remember her full name. Her first name is Amy.
Someone's gonna get mad at that you don't remember her full name and her birth date.
That's fine. I don't care. I'm not really a fan of it anyway. And that's my honest opinion. She made Michelle in gray tone.
I felt like the portrait of Michelle wasn't as well done as Obama's.
I mean, they're two different artists, right?
Well, of course.
Kehinde, he has his style. He does portraits. His shit is always immaculate. His paintings are huge, detailed. Mm-hmm. You got to see it in real life, right? I've seen his work at the Brooklyn Museum many times, right?
He's not the one that did the portraits of like the guy on like superimposed. He painted. Was it I forget who was a rapper? No, he's not the one who painted himself on like the picture of Napoleon on the horse.
Well, he won't paint himself, but he'll paint other people.
Right.
He normally takes photos of let's say he had a studio in New York, he had a studio in Brooklyn. He'll get people off the street to pose for him, and then he'll paint them in these like regal Renaissance.
Yes, that's the guy. I've seen those at the Brooklyn Museum.
Yeah.
It's amazing. His work's amazing.
His and man, there's I have photos of me like in front of his paintings, and I look small. Yeah. His paintings are massive.
And you're big. You're
I'm
what, 6'3"? Yeah, you're a tall dude.
His paintings are massive, and I love it. I think I have two of them. I have one from the first show that I saw at the Dyke Projects over 10 years ago. And then every time I see him at the Brooklyn Museum, I'm like, oh, and sometimes I'll see his stuff at the Student Museum of Harlem, which is cool, but it's never his big pieces.
Yeah.
Right? But the Brooklyn Museum, they always have his big pieces. But the female artist who did Michelle Obama's painting, I'm not a fan of it. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not a fan.
It's just not your thing.
But Kehinde, I'm like, yo, that's dope. That's you. Complete. But her, I'm like, I don't know if by looking at it, I'm like, it's just, and then the fact that she's gray, it's just like, what?
Maybe she's colorblind.
I'm colorblind. I use color. So it's like I paint in gray, color it in, do a color wash. So it's like, but I think they're good. I think they're great. The one guy I was thinking about that should do like presidential portraits is Sean Barber. Do you know him?
Yeah,
I love his work as well. And that was like the next dude. I was like, damn, people hate Kehinde. Who would do it? Who should be the next dude to do something like this? And I'm like, Sean Barber, man.
That's a good point.
He's dope. He's another guy, but art is always subjective. Everybody always has something to say. What do you feel about it?
So I like the portrait of Barack Obama, President Barack Obama. I thought it was really nice.
Is there another Barack?
No, he's the only Barack I know. But you gotta put some respect on his name.
Yeah.
No, I liked it. It was. I saw it, and the first thing I thought of when I saw it was very soothing because of the flowers, the Hawaiian flowers.
Okay.
I saw those, and I was like, "This is a very relaxing." The color, the green, it was very. I saw it, and I felt calm.
Yeah. Okay.
And that made I don't know, that made me really like it. It wasn't like hectic or chaotic. It wasn't overbearing. It was, and when you think about President Obama, that's what you think. He's a very, I don't want to say monotone, but he has a very calm voice. He's always calm and measured about everything he talks about when he was in office. Everything was planned. You never saw him lose his cool.
Never.
You never saw him get angry. You never saw him throw a fucking shoe at a fucking reporter or anything. Everything was measured and
Coolest president we ever had.
yeah. I mean, I like Andrew Jackson because he fucking got shot in the chest and kept going because he's a fucking gangster.
That's different.
That's back in the day when you could duel somebody who you weren't cool with.
That's some other shit.
Like, I challenge you to a duel, good sir. I said, good sir. I said, I challenge you to a duel. Got shot in the fucking chest with a fucking musket ball and kept walking.
Fuck.
Right? But I mean, President Obama, very, he's the kind of guy I would share a beer with. You could run into him at a bar and be like, "Hey, aren't you fucking President Obama?" He'd be like, "Yeah, hey, how's it going? You want a joint?" Like something like that.
He seems like that type of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the portrait of Michelle, I'll be totally honest, I didn't spend a whole lot of time looking at it like that. In comparison to how long I looked at the Barack one. It was okay. I share your sentiment. It's just really not my thing. I thought it could have been a lot more. Because you see, the thing with Michelle is she's a very. I mean, she may not be like I don't want to say dramatic. She's very memorable. Like you see her. Like you see when she talks, she has a very distinct personality or a distinct persona. Whenever I would see her on TV, or I would see anything about her, she stood out. I think she's very pretty. I think she's, they would always talk about her arms and her fitness. She's in shape. She's in shape.
I don't like that shit. But
I don't. I mean, it's not like she's like. It's not like she's a CrossFitter, but you know what I mean. Yeah. She's a very beautiful woman, and I think the portrait that was done of her, and she's very regal. If that's the right kind of word, she's very majestic. Yeah. I don't want to make her sound like a cat. But like she's very like you look at her and you can sense like there's almost a hint of royalty. Almost, she has a lot of self-respect. She commands respect, and I felt like the portrait of her could have been better.
Yep.
I would have been really interested to see how the artist who did Barack's did hers. Like if you would have said do them both, how would those portraits A, look on their own, and B, if there would be any similarity between the two. Like if he would have done them as a pair.
He would have done a fucking excellent job.
Well, I mean, you can always say that because he's one of your favorite artists.
Yeah.
But
look at his track record.
This is also true. This is also true.
That's all he does is portraits.
Now here's my Jew side coming out. How much do you think he made to do that?
You were Jewish.
I'm not. But here's my Jewish side. How much do you think he made to do that?
It doesn't even matter.
Like if you had to put a number on it, like you just take a stab in the dark.
I would say a commission like that.
It's got to be bank, right? It's got to be like, let me put this as a down payment on my summer home, right?
Yeah, but I think that's shooting kind of high, 6 figures, to be honest with you. But he probably got lower than that, and it's just my estimate. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just thinking about the artwork.
Sure.
But
something of that scale, that magnitude.
Doing that, he's always like, even if he charged $25,000 for that painting, for the rest of his life, he could charge 6 figures.
Right, because he did that painting.
So it doesn't matter.
The value is the value isn't in that painting. It's in what that painting provides.
So he already just like boom. Anything he does moving forward. Here's a fun fact. I got a few of Kehinde Wiley's books, right? I always go to the Studio Museum of Harlem, the art gallery in Harlem on 125th. A little while ago, they were cleaning out, right? Just getting rid of like extra shit. So they were like, "Oh, here's a tote bag for $20. Fill it up with whatever books you want."
Wow.
Yeah, so I got a lot of art books, and they had boxes of Hindi Wali books, a small one. And so I'm there, and I'm like, I know who to do this. And the guy's like, yo, get the Hindi Wali book. I was like, come on, I already got 2 of them shits. Like, I already know, right? But I'm hearing people like, oh, he's the guy who's doing the Obama's painting. He's the guy who's doing the president's painting. And I'm like,
Those are people who've never seen his other work.
yeah, I'm like, fuck that. Like, have you seen, like, my man, he went all over the globe. He has a book from like Africa, South America, Brazil, I think the Caribbean. Each book is on different portraits of the people in that area for different subjects.
Yeah, his work is.
He went to. I believe he went to Tel Aviv. I'm not sure. I know he went somewhere in the Middle East.
Land of my people.
Yo, he went all over, and each book is a collection of paintings about those people. I'm like, he's been around. I've seen this dude speak at the public library one day, and I was like, he's a chill, and his story is amazing. It's like single mother, 2 brothers, right? And he was like, when he was younger, his mom would always put them in these free programs around California. So when he was a kid, and I was like, this is some fucking super spy shit, right? Because when he was a kid, growing up in Compton, California,
Oh shit!
his mom found some program to send this motherfucker to China.
What?
Exactly.
In Compton?
I was like,
In what, the 80s?
I was like, motherfucker. I was like,
Sent him to China?
I was like, that's just like the way he was describing his life. I was like, come on, man. I was like, this some fucking Manchurian candidate.
That's
shit.
crazy.
Yo, for real. But I remember I was just sitting there listening. I was like, he was telling the story, interviewing him. I'm like, wow, man, you're a fucking interesting fellow. And then of course he goes to college, goes to grad school and all this stuff, Yale and all that. And I was like,
Goddamn surprise. Send him to China.
he's a cool dude. He's a cool dude, man. But I got a lot of respect for him.
That's great. Do you need another beer?
You know what? Yes.
You want to try the IPA or you want the Stella?
Yeah, let me crack it open. Because I know you're looking at it.
I was about to drink it. No, watch out. Drink the shit out of that beer.
I'm gonna grab it.
So today's episode is sponsored by Stella Artois and by Sip of Sunshine IPA by Lawson's Finest Liquids. Actually, we're not sponsored by anybody because we're fucking poor. But this beer is fucking delicious. We haven't even touched that Stella. For those of you who are into beer, Sip of Sunshine IPA, 8% IPA, Indian Pale Ale. Phenomenal beer. Phenomenal. So let me read what it says here on the side. Lawson's Finest Liquids is a small artisanal brewery located in Warren, Vermont, producing an array of bless you. Producing this is why you don't drink IPAs, right? Ooh, bless you again. Yep. I couldn't remember what it was. Which beer fucked you up? Smalls is allergic to certain types of beers, and it's gonna make him sneeze. I apologize in advance. But let me continue. Producing an array of hop-forward ales, specialty maple beers, and unique creations, Sips of Sunshine. IPA is brewed by Lawson's Finest Liquids at Two Roads Brewing Co. in Stratford, Connecticut. Learn more by visiting lawsonsfinest.com.
You read that so well.
My mom beat me till I read perfectly. The lupin-laden Indian Pale Ale is packed with juicy tropical fruit character, bright floral aromas, and delectable layers of hop flavor. Pour mindfully, inhale deeply, and enjoy a tropical vacation in the glass. Always store cold, enjoy fresh, and stay cool. Like I said, we're not sponsored by them, but if they're listening and you would like to sponsor us, we will drink all your beer until there is none left. And that
We're looking for sponsors.
We are looking for sponsors. We're not desperate. We're sort of desperate. We are young creatives in New York City looking for any way to increase our revenue, and we'll be happy to shill for you if that be the case. Only
Sing and dance, motherfuckers.
That's right, but only if we actually like your product. But getting back on topic, and me not being a shill for a Sip of Sunshine IPA. So we've covered the art, we've covered the apartment hunting, and there's something I do want to get into.
Let's do it.
And I want to talk about SpaceX, Elon Musk, and them sending a roadster into space with a mannequin on it.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. Because I know you have real specific ideas on what that actually is. And you had some questions that we talked about.
Let's do it.
Photographic related. But I want to talk about it because I keep hearing from a lot of people that are saying the same thing. So for those of you who don't know, who've been living under a rock, Tesla launched.
What are your people saying?
Yeah, SpaceX, who's run by Elon Musk, who owns Tesla.
Yes.
Sent a Tesla Roadster into fucking space in a rocket with a fake dummy spaceman in there, and it's headed to Mars,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So,
It's supposed to go around, just loop around Mars
Right.
forever.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Allegedly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they released photos of it. They released a photo of a camera, what it seems like is mounted on the dash
Shit
of
don't
the...
look like a photo.
It looks like a camera's mounted on the dash of the hood of the car, and it's facing towards the driver, and there's a dummy in there, and you see the Earth in the background. Now, I'll agree.
Do you know?
I'll
Do you
agree.
see
I'll
the
agree. I'll agree with people with the fact that it looks fake. But my idea, my concept, my understanding is that it looks fake because we've never seen anything like that.
No.
Because when you
Bullshit.
see something you've never seen before, it's gonna look fake because you've never seen it before. It looks unrealistic because it was unrealistic
I
until
saw a
you saw
Komodo
it.
dragon eat an entire monkey. That shit did not look fake. That looked like a Komodo dragon eating a monkey.
But it's different. That video was amazing, but it's different because you already have a pre-existing knowledge of animals eating animals. You want to know what looks fake?
What?
In that kind of realm? Watch a fucking deer eat a bird.
Okay.
That shit looks unrealistic.
Okay, explain this to me. Then.
Okay.
Moon waves.
What the fuck's a moon wave?
Ah.
But what does that have to do with Elon Musk and his car?
Because there's tons of video out there of the moon.
All right.
Because people with all types of lenses can literally zoom straight up to the moon.
I've seen it. Those videos are amazing.
And when they do,
Yeah.
there's always a wave.
What do you mean a wave?
You got to look at it. It's like a
It looks like a ocean wave?
it looks like a I guess I would describe it as electronic pulse
Okay.
it's a whole phenomenon called moon waves.
Moon waves.
There's a bunch of theories for it, but there's
Okay.
there's no concrete explanation for it. But it's something that occurs. Shit looks weird as fuck. It
Okay.
looks fake, but it was like, I don't know.
Okay, well, I'll be the first to admit I don't know what that is, so I can't comment on it. I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, look
So
it up. It's
I will look it up, and
bug
we
the
will
fuck out,
we
man.
will revisit that in episode 17. I promise. But you had posed a question to me about why you don't ever see satellites from space,
Yes.
and I answered from a perspective of a photographer.
Okay.
So, in space, we know satellites aren't staying still; they're moving, they're
Yes.
orbiting. Correct.
Yes, correct.
All right, and the speed at which they orbit is very fast.
Agree. Yes.
All right. So, if you are familiar with photography and you're doing long exposures, as you know, in space, there's not a whole lot of light. So, in order to capture an image, you need to have a long exposure. And the reason why you don't see satellites in space photos
And
is
there's over 2,000
right.
satellites.
It's because none of them are one emitting light, and two because they're moving so quickly.
There's over 2,000 satellites.
And you won't ever see them because of how optics work with exposures. Think about it. I'll give you an example of how it works on Earth. I'm taking a long exposure of a building, let's say, right? Let's say, actually, I'll make it easier. I saw a video recently of a photographer in the desert. He's shooting cactus, right? The saguaro cactus, the typical cactus with the 3 arms or whatever.
Okay.
Doing
Like
a-
Joshua Tree.
Yeah. Doing a long exposure at night. It's dark. The only light available is the moon.
Okay.
So what does he do? He sets the camera on a timer for 12 seconds. The cat's making some fucking noises. It's freaking me out. I wonder if the microphone picked that up. Cat's like, you're a fucking liar. So he sets the camera. He takes a photo. Yeah. He runs through his own photo,
Okay.
with a flash. He hides behind a cactus and flashes the cactus with the flash.
Okay.
So he's going through and he's selectively flashing certain cactus with a flash.
Okay.
But he's running right through his frame.
Like
Right.
literally. Okay.
Right in front of his camera. He runs right by it.
Okay.
So you would think he would show up in his own photo. He doesn't.
Okay.
Because as long as you're having a long exposure, the only way you're going to show up in that exposure is if you're emitting a light. If you're creating a light source that your film or your sensor can pick up.
I get that.
So it's the same premise when you're in space. Because all these satellites are orbiting at speed.
Not
and
all of them.
No, they all have to orbit. They can't stay still. They use gravity to
So what
circle
about the
Earth.
space station? You can see the space station,
Yeah, but the space station's moving,
but you can still see it.
not in a photo. It's the same thing.
So something's not right.
No, but it's the same thing because the space station is. Well, here's the thing: the space station may emit light because there's people on board, so they may have external lights coming out of whatever you. I don't think it's called a cabin, but whatever it is.
Yeah.
But most of the time, you won't see the space station in a photo unless they're aiming or unless they're specifically trying to illuminate.
Because you can
the
clock
space
when the
station.
space station is going to pass by.
Right, but you see that from Earth. It's different because when you're looking up at the sky, you're seeing refracted light coming through our atmosphere from the moon or the sun. So the glint that you get when you see the space station pass by is reflected light. Light's bouncing off of it so you can see it. It's the same reason why you can see a shooting comet that goes right over our atmosphere because there's a light source hitting it.
That's a great theory.
It's physics. It's how light works.
That's great.
but that's what I'm trying to explain. That's the reason why you don't see satellites because one, they're moving very quickly through the frame. They're there. They're just moving through, and they're not emitting a light source, and they're not in the frame long enough to leave an impression on the exposure. So it's always going to look black. I mean, I can demonstrate it to you with any camera if we go outside.
Until we go into space, it's all theory.
Right. So that's the problem. Until we go into space, and in our generation, we're not going to get into. But from a purely technical perspective, as a photographer, that's how I can explain to you why you won't see a satellite.
I respect.
Is
your
it possible?
opinion.
Is it possible that could be fake? 100%. Do I think it's fake? No, because Elon Musk is a fucking alien that's smart enough to do this.
All right, but that's my thing. I'm like people have asked me this shit, and again, I'm gonna say for the record, I'm not a flat earther. I don't believe in any of that crap. What I believe in is that they're lying to us about what's going on in space.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
But
I don't think that's fake. I think that
the satellites?
No, the fact that Elon sent the fucking car into space.
I think it's fake. I think it's a cover story. Just like, all right, so take this. Let's go back for a few weeks, right? We had the whole the big UFO sighting in California on the coast. Everybody was like, "Oh, what is this?" There was tons and tons of video of it, and what it turns out to be is like, oh, the SpaceX launch. The problem with that was like they were saying, "Oh, we're launching a new satellite into space." It was a part of the SpaceX program, blah blah blah. I don't know all the details.
That should freak me out when I saw it.
I'm summarizing.
I had a panic attack when I saw that
shit. But here's the problem with that story, and I'm glad that people pointed this shit out because I was like, I'm not the only one. Anybody who follows UFOlogy, they'll know that same object has been seen in multiple times. It was like a cycle of like every 3 to 5 years or something like that. But it was tracked. People have the information. It was like, yo, this is always occurring. The same exact object.
Right.
Same, like, you can take video for video and be like, this is the same since the 90s. It's been happening over California.
Right.
So something's happening, right?
Yeah.
Now, if it was SpaceX and they're like, oh, we're gonna launch a satellite, wouldn't they tell people? Because there was one year where they launched the same exact object, same exact video, same exact trail, right? And you know what they said it was?
What?
An unarmed nuclear test from the Navy off the coast of California. That was one excuse.
Right.
I think that was the last one. That was like mid-2000s. That's the one I remember the most. So there's always an excuse for this, and but the latest one was like, oh, this is SpaceX. But if they're gonna launch this, and they know they're gonna launch this, they should tell people ahead of time, just like they did with the car. They were like, oh, we're gonna do this.
I didn't even know they were doing that until that fucking shit happened.
Right. But I'm a graphic designer, digital artist,
right?
Whatever. I'm always on a computer. Been on the computer for years. My eye is trained to see things.
Right.
Like sometimes I don't even know what the error is, but I can tell when something's a CGI image.
Right.
Just from staring at stuff.
But
all
it
the
may
time.
not be CGI.
It is CGI. If you look at it, it's like this. Here's something that was pointed out to me. The size of the continents on the Earth are wrong.
That can be explained by barrel distortion on the lens.
But you know what really got me when I looked at the video? Well, there was another thing that got me that other people pointed out. It was like, look at the video feed. If you look at the playback of the video, there's a glitch in it. And if you pause it at a certain moment, and this is all online, if you pause it at a certain moment, you'll see two spotlights.
Two spotlights?
Yeah, look that shit up.
Where the spotlights are at. You
like,
actually see the light?
Yeah, you see two spotlights. It was like, they were like, oh, it's a glitch in the system because it was filmed in a studio. I looked at the video.
I'm going to look at the video because that sounds interesting.
I looked at the video. You can look at it for yourself, right? But it's around.
But you saw it yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you. Did it look like Was it like a clear shot? You could clearly make out what it is. Because I'm versed in lighting
looked
equipment.
like-
If I can tell what kind of light it is, I'll be able to know whether or not that's either in a studio or it's something mounted to the
To be
hood of the
honest
car.
with you, it looked like a glitch and shit fucked up for a second.
Okay,
That's
I
my
mean,
honest opinion.
because
But-
people see faces of Jesus in toast.
But you know what really got me? I looked at the video of the guy flying or the car going in space.
Mm-hmm.
What really got me was a reflection of the Earth.
The reflection of the Earth where
Yeah,
on the car.
on the car itself.
Okay.
I was like, the reflection. All right. That's what really started getting me thinking. I was like, all right, if you got the humongous Earth in the background, fine. You launched this car, which is all it is possible.
Right. So you don't deny the fact that the technology exists to send the car into space.
Of course, it's all possible.
Okay. So you do admit that the possibility of this being real is real.
Of course.
Okay.
It's all possible. None of this shit is like far-fetched. Everything, all of this is possible. What I'm saying is when I looked at the video and I was like, this video is fake. And then when I saw the reflection of the Earth in the angle of the car, I was like, that is inaccurate. There's no way you're going to have a car at a certain angle and then have this humongous Earth mirror that. The angles are off. There's no way it's going to happen like that. But the way you look at the video is like the same image of the Earth that you see in the background was the same image that you saw on the car. And I was like, there's no way you're going to have that reflection. No way you're going to have that reflection.
So
Because lighting doesn't work like that.
But you're not taking into account what camera is being used and what lens is, because
That's another thing.
Think about a GoPro. But you put a GoPro on your helmet or whatever,
Yeah.
everything is distorted. So what you could be seeing, like, again,
No.
I don't know what
But
they're
it wasn't
using.
distorted. It wasn't distorted.
No, but what I'm saying is it could have been distorted, but remember there is software correction that happens before they release this. But it's not perfect.
But this is the thing. It wasn't distorted. It was a mirror image. And there's no way that, like, you might have a reflection,
yeah.
but there's no way you're going to have a mirror image of the Earth in the background, have the same image on the trunk of the car. There's no way that the same, like, it's a different angle.
I got to rewatch this video then.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
it's like the angles are different. Another thing, speaking of cameras, all right, so they showed the first video where it's the cameras from the side of the car.
Right.
Right. They could a GoPro, they could have a tripod, whatever, right? And then they show you a final image from the front of the fucking car. Where the hell are cameras at? Exactly.
That's a good question.
Exactly.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Like, dude,
Wait.
I'm telling you, I look at graphics all day
I know,
long.
and I do not doubt your ability to, because there are things your eye sees and you immediately realize something's off.
Exactly.
Right.
So
I
again,
get that.
again, I'm not saying that this isn't possible.
Right.
What I'm saying is that they're lying to us about what's going on in space.
And that's fine. I think that's a completely fair statement to say. But
and again,
right.
they're lying to us about what's going on in
but
space.
my
just
whole
to
thing
be
is
clear.
that but those two things can coincide and still exist.
They could.
They could very easily have shot this thing into space
Mm-hmm.
and even be using it as a cover for something else.
And that's what I'm
But
saying.
I don't think there's any reason to believe that thing is not actually in space, because whether it is or is not in space, it doesn't make a difference. Because if you're going under the premise that they're not telling us of what's going on, the very basic idea that this car's in space, if it exists or it doesn't make a difference.
No. I think it's just
So you might as well believe that it is, because there's no reason to believe that it's not, because they know they can do it.
I think it's a cover story for something.
But I do too. I believe that they send something else up in there with the fucking car. And the car is the fucking dog and pony show.
Yeah.
And then they got something else. If you ask me, I've been thinking about this a little bit. And this is kind of like, so I've been thinking about writing a sci-fi
I
book.
like standing up.
Yeah, I like this too. This is working out really well. I wanted to write a sci-fi book, but I'm not. I'm everything I write out, like I start writing in a book, like a notebook, and it always kind of peters out because I feel like I'm not smart enough to write a sci-fi book that people would actually like. But what if I wrote a sci-fi book, or just the idea in general of sci-fi that, it's 2018. The government or the world's governments have been working on space stations and space societies for years, since the 60s. And they're trying to build colonies on the moon or in different planets. And we don't know what's going on. They've done such a good job with misinformation and bullshit that there's already a colony on the moon. There's already a colony on Mars. And people are living there. Like government facilities from all the nations are on these planets,
Okay.
and we don't know anything about it.
Okay.
But in 20, 30 years, when they finally understand how to make rockets to bring more than one person up there,
Okay.
they're like, hey, by the way, you can get this fucking 6-story resort on the moon,
Yes.
and you can get a fucking massage and a hand job for only $6 million.
Okay, I'm ready. All right, so 2 things.
Tell me about that idea.
2 things. Number 1, same thing I learned with art a long time ago. It applies to writing. Write what you know. If you write what you know,
But I don't know shit.
you Gomez, you're one of the smartest people I know.
Man, I am dumb as rocks.
You have fucking information in your head.
Man,
Stop.
I'm a good salesman.
Stop that
I'll
shit.
Sell you fucking water.
You keep information. Write what you know. As long as you write what you know, and you don't try to be like, try to be fucking Neil deGrasse Tyson. Write what you know. Write from your perspective. I just downloaded fucking all of Philip K. Dick's books. Because
Blade Runner, baby.
I want to read all that shit. Seriously, I got them on my
Do
fucking
androids
iPad.
dream of electric sheep?
I got him, Isaac as Amos. Yeah, the iRobot guy.
Yeah,
I got
Asimov.
all his shit, and I got some Hemingway stuff.
Did you watch Blade Runner 2049?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Oh, yeah, we did, right?
Yeah, we talked about it on the podcast.
Okay.
So that's as for writing, write what you know. It doesn't matter. Just write your fucking stories. Second, there was a story a while ago on Netflix. Matter of fact, it's still on Netflix. 6-episode miniseries called Ascension.
Yes, I've seen that.
This shit was bugged out where they were like, they thought they were going into space to colonize the planet.
Yep.
At the whole time they were in a fucking facility.
Yep, I've seen that. That shit, I saw that shit when I was fucking super high.
Yeah.
Gave me fucking nightmares.
It's a good show.
That shit's fucked
But
up.
one thing, I also, speaking of that, because you talk about what if the government is doing this, here's one thing I don't put anything past the government at all.
Not a goddamn thing.
I don't put anything. I'm like, their thing is power. They want to have power. They want to have these weapons. They want to have whatever. I'm like, they're going to do it, right? But one thing I always picked up from the Carl Sagan story, Contact, they're like, the government.
I fucking love that movie.
It was a cool story.
They have it on HBO Go for anybody who wants to see it. It's fucking. You need to go watch it. It's so good.
She says this. They say this one line where it's like, the government doesn't make. They don't. They always make 2 of everything. And I think about that because I'm like, even though people say, oh, fringe science and oh, that's far fetched and that's this and that's that, you got to remember, the government, they go to college universities and they do tests on telepathy.
Still.
Yeah. The CIA, when they released their documents, I think it was like last year or maybe 2 years ago, they had a whole Freedom of Information Act, and they released tons and tons of documents online for people to search in their database. So, of course, I search UFOs. I search mutants. And you know what I found? These motherfuckers did tons of tests on telekinesis, telepathy,
Astral projection.
astral projection, lighting people on fire. What's the word?
Human combustion.
Pyrokinesis.
Pyrokinesis.
Like all these things, like they put money into this. Princeton, the campus in Jersey,
Right.
they had a paranormal department.
Right.
It's like, as far-fetched as these things seem, the government puts money into this. That's a fact. So it's
Okay.
like, you can't put anything past them. I remember I was watching a documentary one time. This was back when like the History Channel was good, and they were talking about like the crazy things in movies that were actually made, right? And this was also followed up in an article in Wired magazine a few years ago, where they were talking about it might have been 10 years by now, but back when I had a subscription to Wired, they talked about they made an invisibility cloak.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but seriously, they was like the way they made it was there's micro cameras on the front and the back, basically on all the sides, right? So the cameras will show like what's on my back will be shown on the front. What's shown on the front will be shown on the back. So
Right.
like if you ever saw Metal Gear, if you ever played Metal Gear, right?
Of course.
Like he can hide.
Yep.
But when he moves, it'll like like a glitch.
Distort, yeah.
But that's reality now. That's not
Isn't that crazy?
fiction. But the thing was, prior to that, there was a documentary that I saw where they were talking about like tech and movies, and they were saying, oh, at the time they were like, oh, the lightsaber will never be made because there's no way you can stop a laser at a certain point. Come to find out, a couple years ago, they made a lightsaber, like an actual lightsaber.
That's amazing.
That when you generate a laser, it will stop at a certain point. Like look it up. It's an actual lightsaber.
Will it like cut through shit?
Yeah, well, it's like so hot, but they were like, "Yo, it's a working lightsaber."
That's amazing.
Another thing was that same documentary I'm referring to. The one main thing that I remember, where they were like, such and such scientist was being interviewed, and they were like, "Yeah, we saw this," blah, blah. But they were like, a lot of times when stuff isn't made in the movies, they'll get approached by people to make these things,
Of course.
right? But whoever, DARPA, whoever, right? So they were like, they saw the Predator, the movie Predator, the original one.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what you're about to tell me.
And the guy was like, yeah, they approached them. Some military group or some private industry group approached them to make that invisibility technology. And I'm like, that's bugged out. This documentary was old, but it was like, this is just shit. You got to remember, the shit that they show us on TV, they're already advanced.
Yeah.
Take a look right now. There's a video going on, being spread around online about these little robotic dog-looking motherfuckers who.
Oh yeah, I shared that shit.
The door.
It's so scary. It learned. It learned how to open the door.
What the?
They made that distinction. They said this motherfucker learned how to open the door. It wasn't shown. It wasn't programmed. It learned how to use its fucking
and the way
claw,
it's moving.
and it's so scary.
It's like
And
you look at it like,
and people are like, it's so cute. I'm like, are you fucking retarded?
you were like, oh, I'm gonna burn that shit on
Kill
fire,
kill it with fire.
Kill
Kill that motherfucker with fire. Shoot it with a fucking M16. Why? This is how we die. This. If there's one thing in this world, everything, all jokes aside, all paranormal activity aside, aliens aside, fucking thing I'm afraid of is what humans are doing to create artificial intelligence. Yep. If you listen to any intelligent person, whether it be Sam Harris or any other motherfucker out there who's talking about artificial intelligence and even when Elon Musk, when arguably one of the smartest people alive of our generation is saying he's afraid of where artificial intelligence is going, you need to be afraid, because the idea that we're going to create something that can outthink us very rapidly and then decide whether or not it wants to take control of our species, and do not get it confused. We are not, the current state of humanity is not good for the world.
No.
The amount of people we have on this planet, the damage we cause to this planet, the damage we cause to each other, any artificial being that doesn't have the kind of morality that a human has, or that a human has been indoctrinated with, whether it be religion or whatever, will quickly come to the conclusion that the world in itself, the planet, would be much more better off without humanity on it.
And is that not the story of
Terminator
and the Matrix?
Yes, exactly. So for those people who look at this artificial intelligence shit and think it's
Terminator is just a prequel to the Matrix.
That's right. So, I hope you're ready to fight the fucking robots, because that shit's gonna happen. Because that to me is the scariest thing. When you create a fucking sentient being that has no morality because it knows only ones and zeros, and it's gonna decide, well, you tell it, okay, computer, you're smart, you learn at a rapid rate, get rid of cancer. The computer's gonna think, okay, what is cancer? It's a growth that happens in humans. You told me to eradicate cancer. So the quickest way and most efficient way to eradicate cancer is to eradicate what it grows in. Mm-hmm. And it only grows in humans. So let's get rid of humans and we'll get rid of cancer. There's no thinking for the robot, okay, well, how do I eradicate cancer while not harming a human being? No, that's not what it heard. It heard get rid of cancer. And the quickest way to get rid of cancer is to fucking murder every human on the planet so cancer can't grow. Then what do? You gonna have a fist fight with the robot? Good luck.
Shit.
God damn it. It's fucking, that shit's so scary. I think about that at least once a day. It scares the shit out of me.
It's like,
I just hope I'm dead before that shit happens.
Like, the ongoing theme that we always talk about is like preparing for the worst, go bags. But to be honest with you, man, it's like some shit you just can't prepare for.
Right.
And it's like, what are you going to do? How are you going to survive? Because whether you believe in it or not, it's happening.
Yes, it is.
One of the things I've been saying since we started this podcast is like, we are living in the first 10, 15 minutes of a bad movie. of a science fiction movie.
You've been saying that ever since I met you.
And that's how I feel. I really like right now, I feel that, man. I feel like, yo, this is the start of shit. So it's like you're either going to get hip to it and be like, okay, well, this is definitely going down. This is how I'm going to prepare. Or you're going to be like, I'm not going to give a fuck. And I'm going to ignore it and I'm just going to suffer. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing. I think a lot of people understand that shit is fucked up, but they just don't care because it's too depressing to worry about.
Yep.
I'd rather live like Mad Max, man. I'm going to survive.
I think either Mad Max is going to happen or Blade Runner is going to happen. Both of those end results are terrible, but
Blade Runner was a lot better, though.
Blade Runner was a lot better.
They had a city.
It depends how you think about it.
Mad Max was like the desert,
but
where somebody controlled the water.
I think Mad Max
like,
is.
fuck, man.
I think each one of those. I think each one of those results is specific to like a personality type.
It's like shit. I'd rather be in a city with people.
But everybody in the city's fucked up. You don't know who's real or who's a replicant.
It's still in a city.
Yeah, but is a city?
You can go to a strip club.
But is living in a dirty.
Mad Max had no strip clubs.
Right, but think about how poor everybody was in that fucking city. You were only rich if
Which one? Part 1 and part 2?
Any of them. There were way more poor people in terrible conditions than rich people.
And what? Part 1 and part 2?
Either one, pick one.
Because part 1 was good and part 2 wasn't. They weren't that. No. What are you talking about? No, because
you had a fucking homeboy replicant cop
Yeah.
going home to a fake fucking projection girlfriend eating some squiggly see-through shit. What the fuck is that?
he was still in the city.
So what's
You mean you saying that's the equivalent of living in a desert
I think that
with a bunch of savages?
No, I think that
Fuck that.
the Mad Max world offers a unique.
They didn't even have trees in Mad Max.
Yeah, why do you fuck you need a tree for? I think the Mad Max world offers a different set of circumstance that may be better for a specific type of individual compared to the way the Blade Runner went in the future. I think, for example, I would probably thrive better in a Mad Max situation than I would in a Blade Runner situation because
Really?
everything in Blade Runner is fake. There's nothing real. Everything is given the illusion of reality.
Yeah.
At least in Mad Max, you know, if you see another person, they're a real person. Whether or not they're going to try to eat you, it's a different thing. But you know everything you see is reality.
It's like the Book of Eli.
Right, which is another interesting futuristic movie because not only does it involve a desert wasteland, it involves the power of religion, the power of mind control. Very interesting movie. I've seen it a couple times on TV now that it's for some reason they were playing it a lot.
Is he blind?
That's another thing. I think he is. But there are parts of the movie when you watch, you see him make eye contact, and I don't know if that's the character or I don't know if that's Denzel as an actor making eye contact. Yeah, it's very interesting because the book is Braille. But maybe he's just a guy who can see who taught himself how to read Braille because he realized the value of the book. You know? But then who did he learn Braille from?
I like the collapsible bow that he has. That's cool.
Those exist, actually.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like 150.
I want one.
There's a website.
Yeah, I know. There's a website for fucking everything these days. So here's the next topic that I know you have some strong opinions on.
Oh, shit.
Black Panther.
Because I know see it tomorrow.
I'm going to see it on Friday. I'm seeing it at 2 o'clock. No,
I got my whole African outfit, too.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Because my girl, she went over to Gambia.
Yeah.
She brought me back some shirts.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
We should do a fucking portrait session. Oh, we should do a fucking portrait.
Oh, they look pimp.
Oh, I want to take photos of you. That's it. You shouldn't have told me that shit now. Fuck, you done fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
So for anybody who wants to join me, I'll be going to the 110 showing at 34th Street.
Shit.
The IMAX. I was going to go to the 2 p.m. showing, but then I saw that there's a 110 showing, and I get out at 1 on Fridays. So, and the theater's like around the corner from my job. So I'll probably duck out just a little early. So yeah, if anybody wants to join me, I'll be at the 34th Street Lowe's at 110 for the IMAX. But there were some things about Black Panther going on that, you know, there's some people who are upset. Why does he have to be Black Panther? Why can't he be Human Panther? Well, there's a lot of outrage from stupid people. right? And you did it again with the fucking paint and the cord. That cord, that microphone cord is gonna be white by the time you're done.
Probably.
So tell
Painting
me,
looks good.
first tell me, how excited are you for the movie, and what do you think of the people making a big deal
I'm
about
hyped,
this?
you know.
How hype?
Because, man, I wouldn't be so hyped if it wasn't number one. The trailer is fantastic.
I only saw the first trailer. I didn't watch any
But,
other trailer because I want to
Yo,
save it all for the movie.
All the reviews, everybody's just like,
I see that. But let me ask you. Let me ask you. Hold on. So you know everybody's talking hype about the movie.
yeah,
People are giving it really good ratings.
yeah,
People are very excited about it.
yeah.
How much of it do you think is legitimate hype, like legitimate about the movie, and how much you think of it has to do with the fact that it's a minority movie and they want to make it big? Like, do you think the movie's going to be as great as everybody's touting it, or do you think that there is some fluff because of the fact that it's a black movie?
I really think my honest opinion was
Because
when I first heard about them making the movie, I was like, okay,
the actor who's playing Black Panther is amazing. He's a great actor.
but it's not even that.
It's
the whole
cast is amazing.
But the director, I feel like when let's say just fuck it, Disney, right? When Disney was like, we're gonna make this movie and we're gonna put it out during February, the so-called Black History Month.
That wasn't planned at all, right? You think that was just a coincidence?
I think like they were like, you know what? Let's make this shit the best movie we can make. I feel
they
like
can't fuck that up.
I feel like they did it intentionally. They could have easily have said like, you know what? Because a lot of people forget Blade Part 1 and Part 2 were fucking hell of a movies.
Amazing movies.
Part 3 was shit.
But it was still fun.
Yeah, but Part 1, Wesley Snipes made comic book
She
genre.
likes to listen to trap hop while she hunts.
Oh yeah. Oh, trip hop.
Trip hop.
He's referencing fucking Part 3.
Part 3
We
when
don't-
she when
we
the,
don't like to speak about that.
that is the one part in the entire Blade 3 movie that I remember it where I watched that part and I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
But
fucking Ryan Reynolds, you beautiful bastard.
Part 1 was dope. It was beautifully shot. The characters were I don't even know who directed it, but I just watched it. I'm like, this is a beautiful movie. It takes you into like a world of vampires where it's like, fuck. Right? Like
It's a great
Blade
movie.
1 was Blade 2 put me onto Del Toro. I was like, who the fuck is this dude that directed this movie? And I went back and I watched all his other films because I was like, this motherfucker was some shit. I bought the DVD. Matter of fact, Blade 2 was the first DVD I've ever bought. It was like at the
Really?
time, yeah, when people were buying DVD players and all that shit.
The Matrix was my first DVD.
Going over from VHS to DVD. That was the first one I bought, and I remember just watching the behind the scenes, the disc 2 with all the behind the scenes and special features, and I was happy because this guy, I was like, he's the first director that I saw that kept a sketchbook of the film, and he showed it. He was like, here's my sketches, here's my ideas, and I was like, this motherfucker is insane.
Blade 2 was so well done, especially
has so much-
especially
oh my
because
God.
like just the whole idea about a vampire who's a mutant and is changing
With the whole mouse shit.
Oh, it was so good. The scene where they go into the fucking party, when they go into the club,
House of Pain.
or the ninjas, like the vampire everything about that Blade 2. It's funny that you mentioned that because I really enjoy Blade 1, but whenever I see Blade 2, I enjoy it so much more.
Yeah, man.
Like when they're hunting the guy and the dude that's bald and has tattoos on his face is in the kitchen and he's hunting the one fucking and he grabs him and he sticks his fingers into the guy's back. There's just something about Part 2, like Blade 2, that's so well done.
Del Toro is the man.
Del Toro is. Did you get to see Blade of Shape of Water?
I was just about to ask you that.
Did you see it?
Yes.
I downloaded it.
Oh, what?
I haven't seen it yet.
Don't watch it. Go to the theater.
Okay.
Trust me.
I want to.
Dude.
I was gonna go yesterday since I was off.
Look,
I know I need to go see it in the theater.
I'm a hardcore fan of Del Toro. He fucked up with the haunted house movie with Charlie. What's his face? That was like he came out with some movie a little while ago. I think it was like last year or some shit. It wasn't great. Pacific Rim was okay.
Wait, he did Pacific Rim?
Yeah.
The Toro?
The first one.
He did Pacific
Yeah,
Rim?
that was his.
I like Pacific Rim.
It was okay.
Okay.
Story's like a little wacky.
Pacific Rim is mad good.
No, I like it. But the story was like, come on. Could have been a lot better.
I guess.
But
Shape of Water.
Shape of Water, he took it back to his original genre is horror.
Right.
He took it to the horror shit. He took it to the Victorian shit. He took it to like the steampunk shit. He was like,
It seems very Hellboy-ish.
Past that. You know?
Really?
Yeah, man. He was like, it felt like
Pan's Labyrinth. A lot of people were
It felt
comparing.
like that,
A lot of people were
yeah,
comparing it to
yeah.
Pan's Labyrinth.
But see, like all his good moves are in Spanish. Like he has
Yeah.
the Devil's Backbone, which was a good one.
Yeah.
Right, with the dead kids and shit. It was just like I was watching. I was like, when it was finally over, I was like, "Fuck, it's a good story, man.
I gotta watch this fucking
It's
movie
good."
now.
And it was like, and seeing it on this, I'm like, I'm glad I saw it on the screen. I'm glad I fucking saw it on the screen because it was like it's a great movie. And then now, I'm gonna buy it on download or whatever. But seeing it on the screen is one of those movies you gotta see on the screen.
Shit.
It's worth
Is
it.
it still in theaters?
I think so, yeah.
All right.
Because it always comes up on the app.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
It's
this
worth
week.
it.
I'm gonna have
It's
to
worth
watch it this
It's
weekend.
very worth it, man.
Okay.
Whoa.
I'm going to watch it.
Yeah. And
Shit.
he already got awards for it.
Yeah. He's nominated for a bunch of Academy Awards.
I know
for
he
it.
won. I don't want to say the Golden Globes, but there's always pictures online of him with like trophies and shit
Yeah.
because of the movie. Because it
The
was
Oscars haven't happened yet, though, right?
I don't think
No.
so.
But he got nominated for a lot of them.
Yeah,
I saw the
'cause
nominations live on TV, and they nominated Shape of
fucking
Water got a lot.
Doug Jones.
You know, I hope for anything, I hope the Toro wins because he is one of the only directors in Hollywood who's very unique. He doesn't do superhero movies except for Hellboy, but Hellboy is a unique character to begin with. All his
They're already doing a remake of that one.
they need to kill themselves. There's a real specific style that the Toro has that no one else has, and I think they really need to I want him to win purely because first off, and this is gonna sound terrible, he's Hispanic. He's
Mexican.
He's Mexican. He's a non-white dude who's maybe one of the most creative people ever. He makes movies that a lot of people would consider risky because they're not in that mold of blockbuster hits.
Yep.
They're very different. They're unique. They're creative. Some of them are flops. Some of them are great. And I think this one is such a hit, especially with the cast that he has. Like Michael Shannon, amazing actor.
Who was Michael Shannon?
He's the guy who runs the lab.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I haven't seen the movie, but from everybody that I have heard from who I respect, who's seen it, they say it's amazing.
It's good, man. It's real. I was like, there's a lot of nudity.
I'm not mad at that.
It's like
How much nudity?
It's different from his other movies. A lot. There's nudity. There's a lot of sex. It's like
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
He made it like a rated R movie.
I mean, again, I'm not mad at that.
And Sally, what's her name? Sally Hemings, or the main actress. Like,
But let's get back to Black Panther.
yeah.
So Black Panther.
Black Panther.
Let me know what your thoughts are on all these people being outraged about there's no inclusion of white people, or there's very little white people. There's no inclusion of gay, the LGBTQ community. What are your thoughts? Because I know you have some really strong opinions on inclusion in general and who deserves, or rather who should or who shouldn't be. But I don't know. I don't want to put any words in your mouth. Why don't you tell me what you think about the whole thing in general?
First thing first, the Black Panther story isn't about the LGBTQ community. So if you're not included in the movie, stop fucking bitching. It's not your movie. It's not about you. Stop your bitching. You don't need to be in the community. You don't need to be included in shit. It's like, speaking on that, there's another thing that really pissed me off, where there was a petition for Disney to donate money, the proceeds of the money from the movie, to the black community, which is it's bullshit. Like, stop with this shit. Stop with like all this. Oh, me. Okay, perfect example. They call it the Struggle Olympics. Stop. Like, you're bitching about something. It's like, you're complaining about something, you're crying about something. It's like, you're not included. You're not supposed to be included. Like, if somebody does a story of my life and they're like, oh, well, John doesn't have any gay friends, that doesn't, like, who gives a fuck? The story ain't about you. It ain't about gay people. The story's about my life. The story's about Black Panther. If there's nobody gay in the movie, there's no fucking albinos in the movie. Albinos gonna fucking protest now? There's no Mexicans in the movie. Oh, a Mexican's gonna protest now? It's like, it's stupid. It's like you want people to take you seriously, but you're always crying over some shit that has nothing to do with you. Oh, why don't you include us? Why don't you include us? Shut the fuck up. It's the same thing with people who ask for handouts. It's like, oh, Disney should donate money to the community. No, they shouldn't. No, they shouldn't. Like I told my people earlier, I was like, oh, fucking when Disney made the Mighty Ducks, and the Mighty Ducks was about the inner city fucking hockey team struggling in the community, did they give money back to the fucking city? Hell no. They fucking made a fucking hockey team in Anaheim, California, which nowhere near where the city Mighty Ducks took place. It's stupid. It's like, oh, Harry Potter, he makes a story about fucking wizards in London. We should donate money to fucking the kids of London. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's like, you're stupid. You're asking for handouts.
Yep.
It's fucking, oh, include us in your movie. For what? You're not a part of the story.
Yeah.
It's like all dogs go to heaven, so we shouldn't fucking include cats? Like, what?
It's very strange.
It's stupid.
You know,
it's not strange. It's stupid.
Yeah. I feel
Stop
like this whole
fucking
idea,
complaining and make your own shit.
So when it comes to inclusion, I feel that, I don't know, it's one of those things where I feel like it's not wrong to want to feel like you're included, but does your inclusion add to the story?
And it doesn't.
That's the thing, right? So you look at Black Panther is a great example of when you would think about inclusion, right? So the movie is called Black Panther. It's about a king in Wakanda, a country that doesn't exist, in Africa. Who lives in Africa? Black people live in Africa. It's really a story about an African king. Why would you go out of your way to include white people who are not native to Africa, and just for the sake of people feeling good about themselves, why would you include LGBTQ people in that community? I'm not saying you shouldn't include them. I'm not saying there's not a place or that those people don't exist in people of that community don't exist in Africa. But in a fictitious world where there's no specific mention of, LGBTQ community, like, what does the inclusion of that group of people have to the story that's going to further the story?
Not a damn thing.
Like, I get the need for wanting to feel like you're part of this, but why? Like, what do you add to the story? What part of the story is going to be enhanced by this?
Like by saying, oh, this character is gay. This character is bisexual. This character is into men. This character is into women. Like, why? Like, you're taking away from the main character.
You're taking away from the main story is what
like,
you're doing.
It's
the story has nothing to do with any of that. Why even interject it? Why does it matter?
My thing is, like, I don't care who does whatever you want to do, but it's the same thing with them remaking Ghostbusters or
I've never seen that movie and I never will.
Remaking fucking Ocean's 11 with the all females cast and calling it Ocean's 8. It's like, no, just do it. If you want to do a story with your specific interest in mind,
you have to call it something else.
Then do your story with your interest in mind. Stop trying to piggyback on other people's shit.
Yep. I got into an argument.
It's irritating, man.
Yeah, I got into an argument with somebody because I told them I refused to watch the new Ghostbusters.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I said, why?
My girl told me I watched it and I fell asleep. I was like, I don't even remember.
Yeah. I told them, I'm like, there's no reason why I need to watch this Ghostbusters movie. Mm-hmm. And they were like, well, you're just being sexist because it's all women. I'm like, no. Why would I rewatch a movie that didn't need to be remade? Ghostbusters 1 was perfect.
Excellent.
Ghostbusters 2 was garbage.
But still watchable.
With
Bobby Brown doing the soundtrack.
Right. Why do I need to rewatch a movie that its sole purpose was created solely for the point of social justice?
Yeah.
There is no reason why. Tell me what's wrong with the first Ghostbusters. There's no women in it? Okay, let's ignore the fact that Sigourney Weaver is maybe one of the strongest characters in that movie,
Yep.
and just strongest female characters in general. Let's ignore the fact that Sigourney Weaver, on average, I don't even think she's ever played a role where she wasn't a strong female.
Where she wasn't weak.
Aliens, she literally murdered aliens in every single movie.
Yep.
She became an alien and then murdered them.
Yep.
So that aside, there's no reason. And they were just like, well, you're just, you don't want to see a movie. Little girls need idols to look up to. I'm like, and Ghostbusters are those idols? Like, why? Why would you take something that is so prevalent in, like, I would say nerd culture, right? Or cult, like a cult, not a cult, like the cult movies, right? Like cult classics.
Okay. Yeah.
Like
pop
Ghostbusters.
culture.
Yeah, pop culture.
Yeah.
Like, explain to me where they went wrong. Explain to me where Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Raimi, and all these guys, tell me where they went wrong.
Rest in peace, Raimi.
Rest in peace. Tell me where they went wrong, where this new movie has corrected all that. The fact that there's women Ghostbusters. Why? How many women do you know would go into a building haunted with ghosts?
It's like if they remade They Live.
It's
right?
like if they remade any. It's like if they made.
It's like, why? How would that make the movie
Think about
better?
this. Imagine they remade.
Couldn't get into that fight rolling down the hill.
Imagine they remade Rocky or Rambo with women. Think about that. Think about that. Because it's almost the same premise. It's an idea that they're taking a movie that's dominated by men, and they think that it's a better idea if they remade the movie with an all-female cast for inclusion. First off, it's not really inclusion because you're taking a movie that was a major hit and you're redoing it and excluding men.
Yep.
Which, of course, people will say...
Bad CGI.
Right. Well, of course, they'll say, well, men are in most movies, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I mean, I can name you plenty of movies where there's a strong female lead. But whatever. The point is, you're remaking a movie not because the first movie was bad, but because you think that you're playing to an audience that wants movies to say something politically. When it doesn't have to. Movies are an escape from reality. There's no reason why I'm going to go to a movie to further enhance what I'm seeing on CNN.
Make a remake of Tomb Raider with a man.
You don't want that to happen. You don't want that to happen.
Of course not. They'll fucking flip out.
Right, but Tomb Raider in itself is a great story.
Yes.
With a strong female.
Yes, even a new one looks fucking
And no man
great.
is asking for them to remake Tomb Raider with a man in it because the story is so good on its own that it doesn't matter who the character is. My whole thing is if you think there should be a story similar to a story that already exists, but it needs to be a female lead, great, write it. Don't call it something already. Write it. If you feel
Create your own shit.
If you feel so strongly that this needs to be done and that there's a better story to tell, do it. I want you to do it. If not, don't take something that's already a classic and fuck it up.
Nope.
And I tell people that all the time. Like, there's a reason why the new Ghostbusters movie fucking flopped. Not because it's an all-female cast, not because men decided not to go see it because it's women. It's because the first movies were fine the way they were, and there's no need to remake it.
Nope.
There was no need. Zero. It's not like the first movie was fucking retarded. It's not like the movie didn't make any money. You watch Ghostbusters Part 1, it's a fun movie. You enjoy it. You forget that there's like why
Raise the cult books.
Right. Why does there need to be a female Ghostbuster? Why? Explain to me why.
It's like, would you remake the girl with the dragon tattoo as the guy with the dragon tattoo?
Would you remake
I don't want to see the
Conan
right
the
scene.
Barbarian as Barbara the Barbarian?
Or Red Sonja?
Why? Exactly. Like, what's the purpose? Why would you do that? Is there a real?
Or Beastmaster as a woman?
It doesn't like it's. Like
Beastmaster was a shit.
Well, they
back in the
recently
day.
wanted. I saw an article that they wanted to do a female James Bond.
Yeah.
And there was I
They
forget
can't even do a black James Bond.
Right.
Which Idris Alba.
that
He'd be perfect.
he would be perfect. I think a black James Bond, especially Idris Alba as James Bond, would be fucking amazing.
They did that movie Bastille Day, which is like he was
so
just
good.
kind of
Yeah.
a spy.
Mm-hmm.
Like fucking be great.
I forget who the actress is. Shit, I forget who. But she said something really interesting. She goes, "There's no." She said something to the effect of, "Why would we do this when we can just create and a female actress like this would deserve her own story.
Yep.
Why would you take a male character and put a female character in there when you can just create a new one that would be her own entity on her own? And you kind of get that with Atomic Jane, sort of. I know.
Atomic Blonde.
Atomic Blonde. Shit. I
Still a fucking horrible movie.
Yeah. Well,
Atomic Jane sounds better.
The thing is, I enjoyed Atomic Blonde.
Of course you did.
I enjoyed it.
I couldn't watch that shit, and I watched the bootleg.
Right. No, it was okay. So I didn't want to watch
For the lesbian scene, and I was like,
Yeah.
I can't even watch the shit until that.
I didn't want to watch it because it seemed like a real bootleg John Wick. Right.
Horrible.
With the level of violence, it seemed like a really poorly done John Wick.
Can't top John Wick. Keanu is the man.
Yeah, and it's hard because John Wick's so over the top and ridiculous, but it's so enjoyable.
You can't top that shit.
It's
Don't
so
try.
enjoyable. But like, it's just
I'm
it's one
sorry.
of those
I'm
things.
sorry. We got to talk about Proud Mary for a second.
I didn't watch Proud Mary. Nicole watched Proud Mary, but I know you did. So why don't you tell me about Proud Mary?
Let me tell you.
Because I like what's her name?
Tahaji.
I like Tahaji. She's ratchet, and I love it.
Man.
There's something about Tahaji. She makes his face when she has one eyebrow go up, and I'm like, I like that.
Let me tell you something about Proud Mary. So Atomic Blonde, I watched bootleg. I watched it on the internet. Couldn't finish it. I was like, whatever.
That bad?
It was just I was like, this
Jeez.
is bullshit. Colombiana was better. Really? Yeah, I like Colombiana better with Zoe Saldana.
I like Zoe.
That was better. And she's like 90 pounds, lifting like
She literally is like 90.
110-pound gun.
Yeah.
Running through. I was like, that's a better movie. But Proud Mary. Let's just say the first 5 minutes, the intro, me and my girl were just like, this is gonna be a bad movie.
Oh no. Oh Jesus.
Like we both looked at each other. We're like, yo, we should just saw Jumanji.
Yo, Jumanji was mad good.
But Jumanji was starting like a little later.
Bro,
So
I
we were
like Jumanji. Wait, you
we
went to
were
the
like-
theater to watch this?
Yeah, we were like, yo.
You
we
went to
just-
the theater to watch Proud Mary?
Yeah. Because we were like, we just want to see a movie, but it's like, well, it's playing now. We was like, Proud Mary. Because we originally wanted to see Jumanji.
Yeah, you should have seen
It was
Jumanji.
like, damn.
Jumanji was
like
good.
30 to 45 minutes later. We was like, oh, let's just go see Proud Mary. It's an action flick. You know, Taraji, she's on top right now, and she produced it. So I was like, okay, good.
Ooh, she produced
Yeah,
it?
she
That's
put-
probably why it sucked.
She was behind it.
She's an actress. She's not a producer.
Man, goddamn. I'm telling you, like, even my girl was just like, this shit is gonna suck.
Fuck. That bad?
Bad.
Oh, no.
Oh man, it was like, and then the action. It was like who taught you to hold a gun? Like, have you watched John? Like, here's the thing.
It all goes back to John Wick.
Here's the thing about action flicks.
It all goes back to John Wick.
If you're gonna do action flick like moving forward, watch John Wick. Like Keanu did the training.
He did it right.
He did all that shit.
He did it
it's
right.
It's
He
like,
did it right.
It's like The Matrix, right? Like you can't do an action sci-fi flick unless you watch The Matrix. Like The Matrix changed
Change the game.
John Wick changed the fucking game. So if you're gonna do an assassin's flick, you're gonna do any type of
You have to watch John Wick.
watch John Wick. If you don't watch John Wick, don't think about doing this fucking movie.
Don't make the movie.
And when I'm watching this movie, I'm like, there's no way in hell you with your little love handles.
Oh
like,
shit! You
like,
went there. You went to the fucking love handles.
Come on, like you're not fucking nobody up. Like,
Oh.
I train jujitsu. I see the people who whoop my ass. Like I see the females who whoop my ass. They're in better shape than you. There's no way in hell you're gonna be whooping these dudes' ass who are like 10 times as big as me with muscles. Like it just like in what world does this work?
The fictitious world, the world of movies.
And then the kid that she has with her, I'm like, like really, like this whole story, like there was just too much shit going on, man. I think if they streamed down the movie, they just cut out a lot of shit because they try to put too much. It's like all the story, backstory, and all. I was like, stop, trim the fat, like trim it.
Just like John Wick. Trim
And
the
just-
fat. Just get to the violence.
They killed his dog, took his car.
Bam. That's the plot for
That's the
both
fucking
movies.
story.
That's the plot for both movies.
Like, what the
They
fuck?
took his dog. They killed his dog and they took his car. Literally, part 2 of John Wick begins with him getting his car back.
It's like, come on, like trim the fat, streamline the shit, and just work on the action.
And then part 2 is because they blew his fucking house up.
it was like,
All the murders that take place are
fuck.
due to the fact that he lost worldly possessions. That's where the genius in Keanu Reeves lies.
like people can say whatever they want about John Wick, but it's
It's-
the most
it's-
simple fucking
And
movie.
you know what?
but it's the best. Yo,
The power in John Wick lies in the fact that it's simple, it's fun,
Yeah.
it's totally unrealistic. Nobody's watching this and thinking this could happen.
No.
They're watching this because they're like, this is amazing. Keanu Reeves is a beautiful old man. He's doing some shit nobody's ever done before.
Yes.
He acknowledges that his acting is not the best.
Nope.
But we put that aside because we want to see this dude just fucking shoot people in the head. That's all we want to see.
I found like traveling through New York. Like there's like if you live in New York, you can see all the locations of John Wick on a regular basis. But one time, I think it was a few months ago. My family was here. We were down by not the seaport, by the ferry, going to Staten Island.
Yeah.
We come back from Staten Island on a ferry, and we're walking up. Like just walking through downtown. What's that area like? It's not the seaport, but it's just like Wall Street area.
It's financial
Financial district.
Fiddy,
Right?
Fide-Eye?
Fide-Eye.
Fide-Eye.
And I come across the Continental Hotel, the outside,
Oh,
the
God.
building.
Uh-oh.
Yo, it's such. It was like I look and it's like fanboy. I was like, that's the fucking building.
That's the building. That's what the Frisco's is.
But here's the funny shit. It's like you see the streets and you see like the little. It's a small ass
super
street,
tiny, super tiny.
but the building is like a cozies or some shit.
It's
I was like, what the fuck?
yeah, it's fucked up. It's commercial. Yeah. Well, it's
was like-
it's Del Frisco's.
It's like no. It's like
That's where Del Frisco's is, isn't it?
Del Frisco's is like a nice restaurant, right?
It's a steakhouse, isn't that what Del Frisco's is?
No. This shit was like some. It was like either a Cozy's or a Pret or some shit.
Get the fuck out of here!
Yeah,
you serious?
man. I was like, and I sit in like the whole street. Everything was the same, but the front door. It wasn't a hotel. It was like a fucking
Commercial restaurant,
some
commercial fast food.
chain. I
Oh,
was
that's
like,
so
what the
depressing.
fuck?
I could have sworn
I was
that's.
like-
I
I was
could have
like-
sworn that was where Del Frisco's was.
I could be no, because I'm pretty. When I walked down there, I was like hype. But then I remember it was like it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't a Cozy's, but it was like a Cozy's or a Pret or some shit like
That's
that.
fucked up.
Yeah, man. I was like, it's some fast food chain.
That's some bullshit.
It was it was cool just seeing it. I was like, finally, I saw the building.
Hello, Mr. Wick.
Yeah,
He was a good boy.
I can't wait for part 3 to come out.
Oh, I can't wait either. I love John. I took my girlfriend to go see part 2 when it came out because when
Yeah.
part 1 came out, I lost my goddamn mind. When I saw the trailer for part 1, I nutted in my pants because I love Keanu Reeves.
I was late.
I know you were.
Yeah.
I love
I
Keanu
was
Reeves.
late on part 1.
So I told you, my first DVD I ever bought, I was. It was after this. I must have been at least 14 years old.
Yeah.
DVD. We just got our first DVD player. It was a Pioneer DVD player. I will never forget. It was fucking humongous. And I said, you know what? We went to J&R Music World when they were still around.
Oh, I remember.
Remember J&R? I walked in. I'm like, Mom, I'm going to buy this DVD. She goes, what DVD is it? I'm like, it's The Matrix. She goes, isn't that rated R? I'm like, it is, but I'll be 17 in 2 months.
Yeah.
So if I don't buy it now, I'll buy it then. She was like, well, all right, fine. So I go, and it was it was the early DVD cases. So I don't know if you remember, but you know how modern DVD cases you just open on the side, it's just a plastic box.
No.
Do you remember the early ones where the cover where it was paper? It was a cardboard, and then there was a little latch on the side, a plastic latch, and you opened it up. The very first DVDs that came out. Wait, do you have any DVDs out right now?
Nah.
Okay.
Got rid of all my cases.
But think about a modern DVD. If you go to the store right now and buy a DVD,
Yeah, it's
just
plastic.
a plastic case. The first ones were cardboard, laminated cardboard, and then on the side it opened up like a latch.
Okay.
I'll never
Taking me
I'll
back.
never forget. I went to fucking J&R Music World,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I go to this fucking guy was fucking extraordinary looking. He had a giant beard and he had fucking black hair.
Was
A
this
white-
one downtown by the seaport?
There was only one. It was in the financial district. I
Yeah,
walk in. I'm
I
like,
remember that one.
I'm like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm fucking 16. I just got a DVD player, and another Matrix just came out. Where the fuck's the Matrix?
Yeah.
I want the goddamn DVD. And he looked at me like I was a fucking psycho. I'm like, I want the fucking DVD.
Yeah.
It was like $40. This fucking DVD. Remember when DVDs were that expensive?
Yeah.
I'm like, I've been saving up for this
Before
DVD.
Amazon.
Yep. I've been saving up for this DVD forever.
Yeah.
You know how much porn I had to sell to buy this? Get this? Give me this goddamn. I think he was so frightened by how intense I was about this DVD because I didn't get to see it in theaters, so I was too young. My parents wouldn't take me.
Okay.
He's like, all right. He's like, here, fucking is relax.
Yeah.
Gave him the money. I went home. I watched this DVD like 10 days in a row. Every day I'd get home from school, I would take my pants off.
Yeah.
Right? Not to jerk off, but because when you get home, you take your pants off.
Okay.
And I sat down and I watched this DVD. It was Keanu. If Keanu Reeves walked in here right now, he wouldn't understand how I would feel about him.
I lose my shit.
I've been watching you since Bill and Ted. I've seen every movie you've been in. I've watched every movie he's been in. And when I saw The Matrix, it changed my life.
Matrix is dope.
The Matrix 1, I can't even explain to you the impact it's had on my movie watching, whatever you want to call it.
The only thing I don't like about The Matrix, it's not about the movie itself, but when I saw it in the movie theaters, everybody was like, "Oh, you got to be high when you watch it," and I was like,
"You need to be sober."
They were like, "Oh, you got to be high," and I was like, people kept stressing it. I was like, "Stop."
Achoo.
Sorry.
That IPA is coming back.
But that kind of killed my experience on The Matrix. And then till later, when it was like, all right, I think when I saw it on video again, I was like, I was able to take it in. Because people, man, so many people were just like, oh, you smoke when you watch it, smoke when you watch it. And I was like, yeah, it's not doing that to me, man.
No, you need to be sober, and you need to think about your life when you watch The Matrix.
One thing about The Matrix I'd like to point out, a little tidbit, a little special fact. The Matrix series takes place.
The Animatrix?
The Matrix series, the trilogy,
takes
place in Hollow Earth.
Yeah, it does. It takes place at Zion, which is a city bored into the country.
Earth.
Yeah. Bored into the world, into the earth.
Into the Earth.
Yeah.
So
there's no place to go for humanity except into the earth.
As above, so below.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in Hollow Earth.
I can tell.
You know, people disagree with it, but I'm like, look at Turkey. They dug into the earth.
Yeah.
You know, there's
so did the United States. How many bases do we have that are deep below the earth?
Well, that's different. That's like deep underground military bases.
But how many of them are there? That eventually becomes to one thing.
Especially along the southwest or southeast to southwest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to my obsession with Keanu Reeves. If he walked into this room right now, he'd have no idea the impact he's had on me as a person.
Yeah.
And the way I look at movies.
And he's into motorcycles.
Yeah. You know, they keep putting pictures and stuff like Keanu Reeves on like the New York City subway because he lives in New York City.
Yeah.
If you're ever with me and I run into Keanu Reeves, you need to restrain me. So let's say you and me are at an art gallery or whatever, or the museum, and we're walking down the street and we see Keanu Reeves eating a hot dog on a fucking park bench, and I see him, you need to hit me on the back of my head and make sure I'm unconscious, because I will run at him and be like, listen, you, Keanu Reeves, we're best friends now. We're gonna be best friends forever.
I saw a post where he gave somebody money for a kidney transplant.
I saw that too. I don't even want your money.
Like, I got bad kidneys.
I literally want to look at your face and be like, "You're the one, Neo," and just like touch your face. I can't. I don't even. To be honest, I don't even know how I would react if I saw Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
He was like, sorry. Do you want to sit down? I'd be like, I'd be like, oh, you're Keanu. Did you know Kung Fu? Like I would lose my mind. I don't know what I would do. I've met famous people. I've met I hate to name drop, but I've met like Alicia Keys. I've met Mariah Carey. Like I've spoken to them.
I would love to meet Mariah Carey.
She's a fucking psycho. I've met Alicia Keys. It doesn't even matter. I met Alicia Keys. Alicia Keys, one of the nicest women I've ever met. She's in person. She's beautiful. Like. Yeah, there's just barring that. There's just I've met Tiki Barber. I've met, and this is all through work. This is not because I'm just fucking lucky or whatever. I worked a long time ago. I worked for a nonprofit, and these people were part of the board, and I met them at functions and galas or whatever. Perfectly nice people. I didn't freak out. I was like, oh, it's nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. What can I do for you? There are very few celebrities that I would lose my mind over. I've met photographers that I look up to, and I haven't, I've like, oh, nice to meet you, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Somebody like Keanu Reeves, though, I might lose my goddamn mind. Like if I met Arnold Schwarzenegger, I would lose my goddamn mind because
I'd be kind of hyped.
you know why? Because I grew up watching Terminator 2.
Yeah.
I grew up watching Terminator. It was one of my most favorite movies. The local video store by my house was like, yo, we had to buy a new tape because you wore this one out. You were the only one renting this fucking movie.
And they had Eddie Murphy.
They're right. Like everybody has
Eddie Murphy from the 80s. I'm like, he was dope. Golden Child.
Yeah, such a good movie.
Beverly Hills Cop.
There's like imagine we're sitting here and Jackie Chan walks in.
Man.
What do you mean, man? It's fucking Jackie Chan.
Like you want to spar?
No, I don't want to spar with Jackie Chan. I want you to teach me how to do a backflip. Is what I want you to teach me how to do.
Like Donnie in. Well, Jackie Chan, he did his thing in his last movie.
Yes.
Yeah. What was it called?
The not the immigrant.
The Foreigner.
I said the immigrant. I said the immigrant.
Close, but The Foreigner. That movie was
The Foreigner. It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. But there's certain celebrities that you meet that will fucking. They're everybody has a movie. Everybody has something that impacts,
of course,
the way you look at the world.
Yeah.
Whether it's movies or a book or for a lot of people it's J.K. Rowling. What if you ran into J.K. Rowling and she, you're just a huge Harry Potter fan and that's a big part of your life? What if you ran into Hideo Kojima and you're a big fucking
Metal Gear
fan? That's a big part, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a big thing for you.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things. I pick Keanu Reeves because he's made a lot of movies that have been big parts of my life, right? That have marked specific points in my life, especially as an adolescent. But like, same thing goes for Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone. I remember the first time I watched Rocky. I remember, and that movie came out way before I was born. That movie came out like 20 years, like 10, 15 years before I was born.
Rocky's shit.
Right? Came out, what, 72 or 75? Something like that?
In the 70s,
Yeah, it came out in the 70s.
One,
Before, like, I was born in 88, so it came out a long time before
78.
I was born. Yeah. Even, put it this way, if Humphrey Bogart was still alive, and I met Humphrey Bogart, that would be a big thing. I'm a big fan of the Maltese Falcon, of Casablanca. If I met him...
Wasn't he on Taxi?
Humphrey Bogart?
No.
No. De Niro. If I met De Niro lives 25 minutes away from here on the fucking train. Tribeca.
Yeah, downtown.
A train to Canal Street. How many... I've seen Bronx Tale, Goodfellas, fucking The Godfather.
All those on Netflix now.
Yeah. All of it. Fucking Along Came The Fockers. All these modern...
Fuck The Fockers.
Taxi Driver.
Taxi Driver.
Raging Bull.
Yeah.
If I
Cape Fear.
Yeah, if I ran into De Niro, I would be able to recite lines from movies he did before I was born.
Yeah.
Like those are certain actors and certain films that if I ran into Martin Scorsese, he's a filmmaker, and as somebody who's into
one of the best.
Yeah. If as somebody who takes photographs and somebody who's now getting into video and who just admires cinema in general, if I met Scorsese, do you think I wouldn't lose my goddamn mind? The way I would act like Scorsese, like if I met Kim Kardashian, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. But if I met Scorsese, but I only say that because you look at people at their height of popularity. The vast majority of people today will look at Kim Kardashian and lose their goddamn mind.
But why?
Exactly. I look at Scorsese. Like I bet you if you had a crowd of 100 people of mixed ages, and you put them and you send them into a restaurant or a room, and on one side you had Kim Kardashian, and on the other side you had Martin Scorsese. I bet you the amount of people on the Kim Kardashian side would outnumber the 2 to 1.
For sure.
But like you go to Martin Scorsese, you're like, you've made all these films that have changed the way people make movies.
Yep. They don't know.
Like I would be able to sit down and ask questions and really get into the thick of an art.
Yeah.
With Scorsese. Kim Kardashian would be like, so if I want to make my ass look phenomenal on this Instagram picture, what would I do? That
makes me think of like when I go to the art museum and this is something like. I go to the art museum on a regular basis, right? And we spoke about this before. Like I'm always at the Met, but this is something I always notice. It's like speaking on the same comparison of Martin Scorsese versus Kim Kardashian, and not to attack either two, but this is something that they're two very contrasting people. So when I go to the art museum, I always see like the masters or the popular masters like Van Gogh or Da Vinci or Michelangelo or Bernini or Sargent, whoever, right? But the people that are well known. And then you also have the galleries of ethnic art or Greek art or art just from that is still magnificent, but it's from lesser known artists. Those galleries are always empty.
Yep.
But the galleries that have like the Picasso, the Van Gogh, the Van Gogh,
Vincent Van Gogh,
the Manet, and all that shit, they're always crowded, right? And people always crowd them taking pictures, taking snapshots with the camera phone. They just walk up to it and be like, crooked fucking angle with the camera. And they don't even fucking angle this shit right.
Right.
They don't even fucking get they just, and it irritates me. But then you go to the other galleries, the smaller galleries, or the ethnic galleries, as I call them,
right?
The culture galleries, and they're fucking empty. The only people in there are the people who
appreciate the art for the art.
Like in the Chinese Asian gallery, it'll be like the Chinese Asian people.
Right.
Indian gallery, the Indian people, the Muslim people. It's like, fuck. And I've seen this. I've seen this many, many times. And I'll go through and I'm like, wow, these galleries are empty. As where this art is fucking crowded with people. But this art is still magnificent. It's the same thing about Martin Scorsese versus Kim Kardashian. It's like, people don't know why something is good. They just know that this is popular.
Right.
Like I went to the...
It's about a deeper understanding of what you're looking at.
Yeah, like I went to the MoMA, was it like a couple weeks ago on a free Friday night thing, right? And it was good. It was good, actually, because they had a whole exhibit on fashion, which was like, they did like, I think they did like, it had to be from, damn, man. They had this whole floor, right? I think it was the top level, and they did like a whole area where it was like the beginning of what people consider like high-end fashion into modern times. And it was intense because they had so many garments. They had like accessories. They had everything. They had everything from like hats to Timbs to white Nikes to just everything. Any accessories that people were like, oh, well, why were people into this? Because at that time, in this one period, this was considered in style. The whole exhibit was filled with items like that. So I went in there and I was like, oh, this is pretty intense, right? And you read about fashion, read about history and culture and just styles and different areas and genres and all that. And that was good. And then you go to the other galleries and you see like the pop art, you see like this, you see like that, different art. And then like every area that I went to, and I was like, I would take it in. I'm like, oh, this is dope. This is dope. See the furniture design. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And I would just take it in. And then there'd be no people around. And then I will walk down to a couple levels because the MoMA is like different levels. I think it's like 5 floors in total. So you walk down different levels and then like, oh, you get to like where the crowd is at. And I was like, where the fuck is the crowd at? And it's like, oh, boom, here's all the people. Of course, all the impressionist artists. They got the big Monet piece that's like whatever. It takes up a whole gigantic perspective wall and shit. You got like the Van Gogh and all that crap. Not crap, but like all that typical artwork.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you see people and they're just like crowded around it, but they're crowded around it to the point where they're just looking at it, taking a picture, looking at it, taking a picture. I'm like, you're not even taking it in.
That's like looking at the fucking Mona Lisa at the Louvre.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
It's like
people are just looking at it to look at it. And
it's behind glass. It's a small. It's
Mm-hmm.
not. It's not fucking big.
It's a tiny.
It's a
tiny
small
canvas.
painting.
Yeah, it's a very small painting.
But like when you talk about Martin Scorsese versus Kim Kardashian, that's how people are in art museums.
Yeah.
And it's like
I'm gonna
that on a regular basis.
I'm gonna go look at the Monet. I'm gonna go look at the Rembrandt, and you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna go look at this this whatever guy,
Yeah.
That's it's it's one of those things where everybody wants to go see the known name. Everybody wants to go see, you go to the museum to go see Starry Night.
Yeah.
You don't go to go see the guy who just got his first show at the museum
Because he's nobody.
Because he's nobody.
Yeah.
And we're all guilty of that in some respect when it comes to
course.
art, right? You can't go see everything all the time.
Yeah.
You can't know about every artist, but you owe it to yourself to go kind of learn about different, for example, we just spoke about Martin Scorsese. Everybody knows Martin Scorsese.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows about Steven Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows about James Cameron. Does everybody know about Denis Villeneuve, the guy who directed Blade Runner 2049? He did Arrival. He did a lot of movies.
Wow.
He has big movies under his title. He has a very specific style. Am I saying he's the same as Martin Scorsese and Steven Spielberg? No, but he's not a slouch. I'm not going to say they're on the same level, but he's a younger director.
He's up and coming.
Yeah. He clearly has a talent for directing a movie.
Like the guy who's doing Black Panther.
The woman who directed Wonder Woman. I forget her name.
That shit.
You didn't see Wonder Woman?
I'm sorry, DC movies. I was like,
You know what? I'm not mad at you.
Justice League was fucking horrible.
Yes, but you know what?
Horrific.
Wonder Woman.
I demanded my money back.
Listen, come to my place. I have HBO Go.
I'm not watching it.
Listen, Wonder Woman is on HBO Go. They just put it on HBO Go. I saw it last night. Wonder Woman, the best DC movie they've ever made. Trust me.
Oh,
it's not only because
it
Gal Gadot.
It may be the best they ever made, but don't forget that they're coming out with a Batman Goes to Japan movie.
Listen, and that's fine. That's going to be wonderful. But
the animation,
their animation is very good. But
animation's on another level.
But Wonder Woman,
yeah,
their movie. Trust me, the best DC movie they've ever made.
So what happened with Justice League?
Different director.
That shit was garbage.
Well, Justice League had a lot of problems with the directors. They have two different directors.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
I saw memes about that.
Same problem with Batman vs Superman. Same problem.
They kept changing shit.
Different directors.
And editing.
Yes.
And final editing and reshoots.
I will say I'm not a big fan of Ben Affleck, even though people say I look like him, which I don't think is true.
No.
Right. But Ben Affleck as Batman, I can see. I'm not mad at it. I was mad at it for a while, but but Ben Affleck as Batman, I think works very well. But Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, not only is she just insanely beautiful,
I don't think she's insanely beautiful.
I would let her do whatever she wanted to be.
Nah.
If she was like,
you sucked in Fast and Furious.
That's
she sucks
fine.
in fucking Wonder Woman.
Doesn't matter. No, in Wonder Woman, she's perfect. She's perfect because Wonder Woman in this role is naive.
Yeah.
Doesn't understand the world. It takes place during World War I.
Okay.
She doesn't understand what's going on. She doesn't understand who she is. She doesn't understand what her role is in the world, the grand scheme. There's no Justice League reference. There's nothing.
It's just her.
It is just well, there's a little bit of Justice League reference in the beginning, but it's irrelevant to the rest of the movie.
Okay.
But it's just her discovering who she is, going into the world because in the mascara she's protected.
Yeah.
Where she's from, she doesn't understand about the outside world.
Okay.
And this all takes place during World War One. The development of mustard gas and all this shit. She's just wonderful. She's like her character, her act, everything in Wonder Woman is flawless. And again, it might be a little bit because she's fucking beautiful, but
beautiful.
Look at her. She looks like Wonder Woman.
Fuck.
Look at her. And then look at any Wonder Woman comic book.
Clean your glasses.
She looks like Wonder Woman.
No, she doesn't.
Yes, she does.
No, she doesn't.
She's a tall white woman with black hair who's muscular.
Bullshit. She's skinny.
She's not skinny.
You cannot call her muscular.
She's
my.
she's muscular.
No, she's not.
For the type of character she's playing. Wonder Woman has never been like jacked.
Yes, she has.
No, she hasn't.
Yes.
Wonder Woman.
Dude, I worked on DC License. She has been big. This woman is skinny.
She's skinny.
The person who
she's a supermodel.
Yes, exactly. She's skinny.
But she did
the person who could have fit her perfect
Okay.
was Gina Carano. Or Carano.
No.
Yes.
Gina Carano is not nearly as attractive enough to be Wonder Woman.
That's the problem. But
She's
she has
also-
the body
Gina
type.
Carano's also like this tall.
Well, yeah.
Wonder Woman is like 6'2",
Well,
at least.
yeah.
Wonder Woman is jacked.
You gotta
but how tall is Wonder Woman in comparison to Superman? She's like the same. She's She is the female Superman.
Well, Gal Gadot doesn't work.
Gal Gadot looks the
Gadot.
role. She looks
Gadot.
She looks. I only know that because I have an Israeli
That's
friend.
how you correct me.
Yeah, Gal Gadot. I have an Israeli friend, and he gets very mad at me if I don't do it the right way. But you look at her, like put it this way: she's so good as Wonder Woman that whenever I hear that Amazonian music, the da na 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 na, I get goosebumps. I get it's so powerful that I looked up who did the fucking soundtrack, and it's just Asian lady with a fucking cello. And there's a music video for that fucking theme.
Oh shit!
And it's this Asian chick who's barely dressed, by the way.
Yeah.
She's a classically trained musician.
Okay.
She's barely dressed, covered in like fucking paint, doing this thing on the cello. Yeah. And I'm just like I'm so taken aback by how powerful the music is. I expect Wonder Woman to jump through my fucking wall and stab me in the face with her sword. It's come to the house, come to the apartment, watch Wonder Woman with me.
I'll visit you, but not for that.
I know how this sounds. We'll get some beers. We'll get some more fucking sips of sunshine. We'll watch.
Mofongo?
Yeah, we'll get some mofongo before or after. Up to you. We'll watch Wonder Woman. It's a good movie. It's the best. It's the best DC movie I've ever seen. It's not shitty like Batman vs Superman. It's not as shitty as the other Batman movies that came out.
Oh, Christian Bale did his
fuck
thing.
Christian Bale.
He did his thing.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Where is she? Where is she? It's fucking terrible.
Batman Begins is dope.
Where is she? The only thing, and people talk about this shit all the time, the only thing good about that series was fucking Heath Ledger. Yes, he was good. Imagine, you know how you know a movie's good? Take Heath Ledger out, put anybody else in. Is that movie as good? No. Because Heath Ledger was talented.
Yes.
And I'm not saying Christian Bale isn't talented. He is.
Now, part one and part two were great.
No, part one and part two. Part one was okay. Part two was...
Batman Begins was fucking great.
Part one was good. Part two was better because of Heath Ledger. Part three was straight trash.
It was horrible.
I walked out of the theater in part three.
Bane died with ease. It was like, what?
Batman? Well...
How'd that even happen?
Batman, I'm going to leave you here. Like, fuck Bane. I love Tom Hardy. Fuck Bane. What is that?
It made no sense. That movie was just...
Oh, I was born in the darkness, Batman.
Catwoman, the
I was
whole nine.
born of it. I was you merely adopted the darkness. Why does he sound like that? Who thought that was a good idea? Why you broke Batman's back and then he fixed it by dropping on a fucking thing of rope? What? And then what really got me? What made me walk out?
Can't explain that either.
What made me walk out of the theater at the end of the movie of part three was when they were like, "Oh, Robin, you should use your real name, motherfucker. His name is Dick Grayson. If you're gonna call him Robin, his real name needs to be Dick Grayson. No one names their kid Robin. No one names their kid after a fucking bird.
But there were multiple.
Yes, but there's only one that matters, and it's Dick Grayson. There's only one. There's only one that matters, and it's Dick Grayson.
I don't know.
He was the first. He's the only. He became Nightwing. He was the only one. Okay, if you're looking at fucking what's his fucking name, the guy, the Robin who is Batman's son because it doesn't matter.
Talia Ghul's.
Yeah,
They had made it
Damien Al Ghul, or Damian Wayne. There's only one.
That was a good story though.
It is.
That was a good story.
It is.
But one
it's
thing
not when you say your real name is Robin, you mean Dick Grayson, and they know they did that. And if I met Christopher Nolan in a fucking dark alley, I would kick him right in the fucking dick.
But that's one thing I give DC is like their animations are always
their
great.
animations are amazing. The fucking Constantine animation, the one with Constantine and the fucking Justice League, amazing.
I read some shit that they're supposed to be doing the same exact movie. Was it Justice League Dark?
Yeah.
Justice League Dark. They're gonna do it as a live action.
I hope so, and I hope they get the guy from the fucking Constantine movie to do it.
Well, they brought him
TV
back
show.
for the fucking Arrow and shit. Yeah.
That guy. Now, again, I'm a huge Keanu Reeves fan, and I thought the Constantine that Keanu Reeves did, it was good.
It was good.
I enjoyed
until
it.
This dude came in.
Until this dude motherfucker came in.
Yeah.
And this motherfucker owned it. Because if you've read the Hellblazer comics,
Which I have,
this guy looks just like Hellblazer comics.
Except for the only thing they left out was the gay stuff.
He's fucking Irish as shit. Fucking into dark magic. Yep. Like, why? Like, again, Keanu Reeves. I think the Keanu Reeves movies is great. When he did it, I thought the movie was good until I saw a TV show. Yes. And then I was like, fuck, this guy's better.
Yep.
Shit.
Yep.
When you realize something you don't want to realize, like, this motherfucker's better.
He was like, he nailed it, man.
So good. And like, I think DC's strength lies in TV and animation. And I think whoever's in charge of DC's movie series it's fucking terrible. It's just fucking.
It's watered down.
It is.
That's what
it's
it
fucking,
is.
Because there's so much potential. Because Man of Steel was good. Man of Steel, Superman,
yeah,
was good. I enjoyed it. It wasn't terrible.
It wasn't great.
No, but Batman vs Superman was fucking straight garbage.
Why do you post this? This is a cool fic.
I sent that to you. I posted a version of it on Instagram.
On which account?
On my account. I sent that to you so you could post that on fucking Instagram. But
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's
Talking
okay.
about some shit.
We're just looking at some stuff. There's just I don't know. I think DC needs to kind of get their shit together. All right.
It's funny because Marvel has horrible animation.
Yeah.
Except for the Japanese stuff. That was pretty cool.
But the DC, like when you look, yeah, you're covered in paint. You don't even realize. DC has amazing animation. Marvel has phenomenal live action movies.
Yeah.
It's weird how you look at it and it's reversed.
Yep.
But I guess it comes really down to money, like how much does Marvel invest in their animation side versus how much does DC invest in their animation side? Because Warner Brothers, Marvel, Disney fucking is the top of the line when it comes to animation, right?
At this point, yeah.
Even from history.
Who's bigger than them? Studio Ghibli?
But think about history in general. Disney has been at the very top of animation since the beginning. There's no reason why Marvel should be behind. I don't know. That's very strange. Was that gunshots? What the fuck is that? No, those are fireworks. What is that? It's the end of the fucking. It's the end of the fucking world. We're about to fucking die. Is there? So what else would you like to talk about? We're almost at 2 hours recording. Yeah. Why are they? What's today? What the fuck? Why are we doing fireworks today? What is it?
Yankee Stadium is that way.
Oh, that's very strange.
That's just a project.
Huh. Oh, the fucking another day in the projects.
I don't know.
The fucking pins. Your fucking pins. I fucking forgot to bring $10.
Yeah.
I can send you the money though.
What do we got? Let me see. We're talking about a lot of shit.
Okay. I'll be right back. I gotta go use the bathroom.
Cool. I've been drinking a lot of beer. You know what? One thing I want to talk about: terrorism. The meaning of terrorism. It's like there's all these school shootings lately, and there's been a lot of domestic terrorism in the United States, bombs at airports and violent acts. And I think that the definition of terrorism needs to change. It's like most people say that the meaning of terrorism is either political or religious. But what if somebody just goes into a school and they shoot up the school because they hate the people there? They hate the students. They hate the faculty. Is that not terrorism? That's something we got to look at. It's like it's different from a violent crime. Like today, there was a shooting in a Florida school, and multiple people got shot. I believe 2 people died. And they caught the shooter. He's in custody now. But at the same time, is he just a random act of violence, or is that an act of terrorism? And that's something we got to take into consideration. And I don't think it's banning the gun laws is going to solve anything, or changing the gun laws is going to solve anything. It's like, is it a mental health problem? Is it a terrorist problem? Is it a act of violence? I don't know. And this is something that I posed a question to you earlier. Like, the definition of terrorism needs to change.
It absolutely needs to change. I think terrorism is defined by motive. If what you're doing, there was we spoke about that, the shooting in Florida. What defines terrorism? Terrorism is, in my opinion, an act of aggression or violence to bolster or bring attention to a political motive, right? Terrorism is not the same as mass murderer. People like to conflate the two. If you've killed, if you're a guy with a gun and you go into a church or a mosque or wherever and you murder somebody, you're considered a terrorist. I don't disagree with that in a sense because you're using terror as a means to your ends. But are you the same as a mass murderer? Like, are you Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer killed plenty of people. Is he a terrorist or is he a mass murderer? What's his motives? The motive matters. The context matters. But it's all part of why are you doing what you're doing? Are you doing what you're doing because of religious fervor, political means? Are you doing it because the voices in your head told you to? Or are you doing it because you're on medication? What's the reason? And I think that defines terrorism.
But at the same time, okay, I agree with you on that. But take a look at this past 2 years, the definition of rape has changed.
Right.
Right? Because
Absolutely.
people complained, they boycotted, they protest, they rallied together, and they were like, well, this is rape. And I disagree.
Right.
I believe like rape is a certain thing and sexual harassment is another thing.
Right.
But when it comes to terrorism, like people say, okay, it's either political or religious. I'm like, well, if somebody just has a problem with somebody and they want to go kill a bunch of people, is that not terrorism?
It is in a sense.
That needs to be changed.
Right.
The same way rape is now changed.
Well, think about it this way. Dylan Roof goes into a black church and kills a bunch of black people because he hates black people, right?
Yes.
Essentially.
Yes.
That's terrorism.
Yeah.
Would we both agree on that?
I would agree.
Okay.
No political agenda.
Well, no, there is.
No.
Because
What
white
was,
supremacy is a political agenda.
was it white supremacy or was it just him just being angry?
No, I think it's a political agenda because
They proved that it was white supremacy.
right, because anger is Columbine. They killed people no matter what color they were because they were angry kids. That's anger.
But is that not terrorism?
No, it's not.
It's anger.
It's mass murder. It's a means of them being.
It's a very thin line.
It is a very thin line, but I think it's a defined thin line. Dylan Roof goes into a place where he's the only white person. He kills multiple black people in a black church. He's wearing pins of the segregation in South Africa. Yeah. He has espoused racist comments. It is a atrocity motivated and backed by racial intentions that are percolating in a country that is already racially divided. It is a political statement. It is a statement of ideals. It's very much similar to what you would see with Muslim terrorism, or I guess if you want to call it Christian terrorism. It's rooted in things that are religious and political. It's not rooted in things that are rooted in, for example, medication or feeling like you're an outsider. If you look at things like Columbine, where these kids felt like they were excluded from society, they felt depressed, they were on antidepressants, their motivations have nothing to do with race or politics. It has to do with how they feel in relation to society.
Okay.
That's what makes the difference, in my opinion. Like if I go into, if I go into a place that's full of people who are pro-abortion and I murder everybody, and you go through my Facebook and you find that I am anti-abortion, you can very well make the claim that I did that because I hold views of anti-abortion which are both religious and political. Oh, careful. Oh, how drunk are you? You fell off a goddamn stool you were sitting on. What was that? That's amazing. When the logic hits you so hard, you fall off the goddamn stool. Fuck! That may have been the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Even the cat's confused as to what just happened. The cat's looking at you like, what the fuck just happened, John Smalls? That may be one of the best things I've ever seen in my entire life. For those listening, John was sitting on a stool and somehow lost his balance while sitting on the stool, almost fell on the goddamn cat. Almost made that cat a cat sandwich. Oh. You're right? You good? Good. Okay. All right.
I think I was just
all right. That's fine. That's fine. But that's what I'm saying is like when you look at terrorism, there needs to be a defined characteristic. You can't call everything terrorism. That doesn't fucking make sense.
Yes, I agree.
Some people are mass murderers. Some people are terrorists. Some people are fucking psychos. If I go into a fucking shopping mall and I stab 30 people and 15 of them are black and 15 of them are white, what the fuck am I? Am I a terrorist or am I a mass murderer? Why did I do that? Did I do that because I don't like something that's going on?
Is it not terror?
Well, terror, anything's terror. I can see a fucking roach come through here, and I could be terrified of the roach. Does that make the roach a terrorist?
This is where I have the problem. Like I get it. I understand it. That terrorism is this, violence is this, mass murder is this.
It's all violence.
Serial killer is this. Well,
it's all violence.
Well,
violence is the act of doing something.
Well, I guess
terrorism is the objective.
I guess when I say violence, I just mean like, an angry act.
Right.
But you got mass murder, you got serial killer, you got psychotic. Just somebody who's just fucking out there.
Let me put it this way. This is a little bit more pinpoint. So, and I keep going back to Jeffrey Dahmer because he's the serial killer I know the most about because I read a lot about him. Jeffrey Dahmer,
didn't he eat people?
He ate people, but he targeted the vast majority of his
little black boys
were young black men.
Yeah.
Is he a terrorist because he targeted only black men? Because we know that serial killers have a profile. Some of them are very particular about who they're.
Because he knew that nobody would notice if they were missing. That,
and he had a very strong attraction to the black male form. He was very and I want to compare him to Robert Mapplethorpe, who's a very famous photographer. But Robert Mapplethorpe, towards the end of his career, he was gay and died of AIDS.
Didn't we just see his exhibit, Mapplethorpe?
That was
Bert's mom.
Bert's mom photographed Mapplethorpe before he died. Very long before he died.
Okay.
Mapplethorpe's work involved nudes of a lot of gay black men.
All right.
And towards the end, he only dated and only photographed gay black men.
All right.
So Dahmer was very much obsessed with gay black men. He only targeted gay black men. He killed these men and then ate them, like parts of their body, because of whatever his addiction was or attraction was to their form. Right? So it's one of those things like you have a serial killer who only targets young gay black men. He's white.
Most serial killers are.
Is he a terrorist or is he a serial killer? Is he both? What is he? Because his motivation had nothing to do with politics, nothing to do with religion. It had to do with what he felt in his head he was being told. Do you hear that noise?
Yeah, I think it's...
Okay, that's the radiator?
Yeah.
Okay.
The whistle.
He had... Everything that he did was based on how it made him feel. It was not an external source. It was not a motivation of anything other than what was in his mind. A serial killer, that's essentially the profile of a serial killer. They do it because they're OCD, because they have had trauma as a child or whatever. A terrorist will do it because he's been indoctrinated into a group that has an ideal based in either religion or politics. I think that's where the line is drawn. Do you do it because it's in your head, or do you do it because you've been groomed to think of a certain thing in a certain way?
So what if these mass shootings are happening and it's a terrorist act, but because they're not saying anything, nobody's looking at it as a terrorist act?
What do you mean?
It's like if somebody sets off a bomb, right? And they don't say anything and they kill them, they're a suicide bomber. Can we call them a terrorist?
I think you could.
How?
But I don't think you... I think you could say this is an act of...
The Las Vegas shooter.
Right.
For example.
Exactly. That's where it gets hazy because
Can we call him a terrorist?
Right, but you could also call him just a mass murderer because the way what he did is very similar, again, to Columbine. These kids went into their school, and it happened today. Today's, the 14th of February. There was a mass shooting in Florida in a high school. They captured the guy alive, which I think is the first time they've done that.
In a while.
In a long time.
Well, they caught the New York guy alive.
Right.
Yeah.
But he didn't really shoot anybody.
Just ran him over.
No, the guy today. He really shot some people.
Yeah.
He killed like 20 people. Like
20?
I think he killed
That was
like
like 2.
No, I think he killed like 20
He
people.
shot a bunch of people.
That's true. I don't know.
I think
Maybe-
he killed like 2.
I'm kind of drunk.
Shit.
But you know, there's a difference. I think
yeah.
like the Las Vegas shooter, we still don't know why he did that. Right?
We are in the dark on that. And
As fa-
still no video.
As far as I'm concerned, he's a mass murderer.
Not me.
He's a terrorist only until I understand,
I
or
think he's a scapegoat.
he might be.
Until I
But-
see some.
But if he so
The whole case makes no sense.
I agree, but you look at what he did. He shot out of a window of a hotel in Vegas, killed a lot of people.
Broke the fucking window. Should we repeat this shit again?
Yes.
That he broke hurricane-proof windows, tornado-proof windows. He broke them.
Mm-hmm.
He broke like.
And
How?
nobody noticed.
They showed a picture of the window. 2 windows shattered with sheets hanging out of the windows, and I'm like,
Nobody noticed that shit.
nobody noticed glass falling. None of this shit.
Right.
So, anyways,
Right.
I'm gonna let you continue.
Right. If they uncover a video or they find some proof that he did this.
Wait, what do you mean uncover a video? It's Las Vegas.
No. I'm saying like if they found a video on his computer or some shit. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know. Him talking to the
But they
camera.
found fucking child porn on his brother's computer. They found that shit like in a matter of fucking weeks.
Right, because they have to find something.
They found that in like ASAP. They found
because we know the government can't infiltrate computers and plant
they didn't find nothing else on his computer.
Right.
Nothing else about this
on
guy.
his brother's
But
computer.
on his brother's computer, they found child porn.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna let you finish.
Right. But let's say they find a video on his computer of him saying, I like Trump, this and that, fucking black people and gays
And country music.
and
It
Democrats.
was a country music
Right.
festival.
I hate fucking country music, fucking funk, fuck McGraw or whatever. Then you can at least make a connection that there is a political, like he did this because he's a Republican or he did this because he's conservative, and all these things are connected, and you can at least at the very thinnest make some kind of connection to a political motive, or even if he said, I'm a Christian, and this is why I believe, and this and that, and then you can lead it to believe that this is why he would do something. Then you can call him a terrorist because he's using an act of violence to justify what he's doing. What he believes in is this, so he has to use violence to propagate his belief. But if he's just a guy who is on medication that he decided to not take, and then he heard voices, and then he decided, well, these voices are telling me to do this, so I'm going to do it. Is he a terrorist? I don't think so. I think he's a disturbed individual who decided to take violence as a way to either release these demons he hears in his head or use violence as a way to become famous. I think there's a really distinct line, and I think terrorism needs to be defined as a means to a political or religious ends. I don't think it's just a thing that you become. Just look at people who kill people. There are types of people who kill people. Mm-hmm. There are types of people who kill people because they enjoy it. There are types of people who kill people because they have to. And there are types of people who kill people because they believe it's going to help further an agenda that they believe in. And I think that's how you define who they are. Like Jack the Ripper is not a terrorist. He's a murderer.
Who was Jack the Ripper?
It doesn't matter because we don't know what his agenda is.
Yeah.
He could be a guy who was murdering prostitutes.
Kill hookers.
Right. He killed hookers because it either made him feel good, because he believed he believed hookers were wrong. Mm-hmm. If he believed hookers were wrong for society, he becomes a terrorist. If he kills hookers because he believes it, because it gives him a feeling of authority or because it gives him an erection, he's a serial killer. That's the difference. Do these people who blow themselves up, do they do it because it gives them an erection or because they believe God's waiting for them after they press the button?
It's a good question.
That's the difference. Yeah. And I think context and motive is what defines a serial killer and what defines a terrorist. And I think the idea that people are using any idea of a terrorist to prove that Islam isn't a bad religion or Christianity isn't a bad religion, I think that's the problem. Like, you see a Muslim blow himself up, Christians will be like, well, that's Islam. You see Dylan Roof go into a black church, and Muslims will say, that's a Christian. That's
To me, they're the same.
To me, they're drastically different.
It's like I look at. It's like I can look at religion like, well, who brutalized me more? Who attacks me more? It's always the Christians.
I can see that.
You know, like my entire life, I've been alive 39 years, almost 40 years, and who's always hate towards me? Who's always attacking me? Who's always for no reason just coming at me?
Right.
It's Christians.
Right.
You know, and I'm not saying like Christianity is better than Islam or Islam is better than Christianity. I'm just saying like who's attacking me more? It's
Right.
always Christians.
Yeah.
Always.
Right.
Hate groups, Christian hate groups. Like the majority of hate groups in America, all Christian based, right? And they do some violent fucking crimes.
But who's the majority of hate groups around the world? That's the question.
Christian.
Are they?
United States military.
How many?
We fuck shit up.
But that's not true. But that's a
United States fuck shit up. Man.
right. But how many?
We'll bomb motherfuckers.
But how many people in the United States Army are actually real Christians? If they said
What's a real Christian?
a real Christian, but that's the thing. Ask a Muslim.
Is a Catholic a real Christian?
That's
And they fucking raping boys.
right. But
You
here's
know?
the thing.
Like, come on.
Right. But how far? The thing is there's so many different versions of Christian.
Exactly.
You look at, and you think, well, pick any Christian that is at the peak of fanaticism.
Mm-hmm.
Just any group, right? Who would you say are more, I guess, fanatic, quote unquote, about Christianity? Would you say Catholics are more Christian or more fanatic? Mormons are more fanatic? Like Pentecostal? Like, if you had to pick one type of Christian that you didn't want at your party because they made you uncomfortable, what would you pick? Like, just pick a sect.
Protestant, Southern Baptist.
Sure. Do you think any of those Christians would blow themselves up in a group of people to prove that Jesus wanted that to happen?
Maybe.
Under what circumstance? Because I'll tell you, as somebody who was raised in a very Christian household,
Yes.
around fanatical Christians, I have zero fear of going into any place that is full of Christians.
But I do.
Yes, but you're not afraid of them blowing up. You're afraid of them hanging you.
I'm afraid of them shooting me,
Yep.
hanging me.
How many of them are you afraid of?
I have a fear of them even going to the Black Panther premiere. You know, in the back of my head, it's like
What if something crazy happens? And
somebody
that's
comes in here. You know,
absolutely valid.
You know.
And I would never say that that's
but that's-
unreasonable. No, of course, because you have a different experience.
It's like
than
I
do.
used to say like the white Christian male is my greatest enemy. I don't believe that anymore.
No.
I think the white Christian female is my
Right.
greatest enemy.
But the fact that you say the white Christian it's totally valid.
yeah, that's
But
how I feel.
let me and you I really want you to be completely honest with what I'm about to ask you. You walk into a place,
Yeah.
let's say you walk into Penn Station,
Yeah.
1,000 motherfuckers, right?
Yeah.
On one side, you have a guy or a person, let's not put a gender,
Okay.
a person
Uh-huh.
preaching Christianity, very evangelical Christianity. And on the other side, you have a person preaching Islam, a very, very radical version of Islam, the same radical version you would hear on the Christian side.
Okay.
Does either side of that argument, from a cultural or religious perspective, worry you more or less than the other?
The Christian side.
Does it?
Yeah.
Do you think that the Christian side is more likely to cause a mass murder than a Islam side?
Yes.
Why?
I feel like Christians will attack anybody who doesn't believe with their Christians with their Christian beliefs.
And you don't think the radical Islam side wouldn't do that either?
I'm not saying that they haven't, but everybody I know who's a Muslim and everything that I know about the Muslim faith and everybody that I interact with the Muslims of Muslim faith is like I never felt a threat in my life.
So
but Christians, I've always felt a threat.
But do you, okay? So and that's
And that's my honest opinion.
no,
you know?
that's fine. I couldn't see that.
Yeah.
The problem I have specifically is that you look at because, and I don't want to minimize your experience. You're right. Yeah, I don't want to minimize your experience with what you've experienced or anything, but as a black man in the United States, you have a very specific outlook at Christianity.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of the hate groups in the United States are Christian based.
Mm-hmm.
When you look though at terrorism based in religion around the world, the vast majority of it is not Christian based.
True.
Because or any other religion based, like there's never going to be a fear of you being blown up by Tibetan monks. Like if you hang out with the Hare Krishnas, I don't think there's ever a fear that they're going to hurt you, right? No. Christianity absolutely has its own faults. Yeah. And I will be the first to tell you, fuck Christianity. I'm not a religious person at all. I've studied religion a lot. I was raised in religion very deeply. I understand the Christian mindset. When it comes to Islam in general, or at least in the radical sense of things, I find that I would be much more uncomfortable. And this is not to say I don't know any peaceful Muslims. That's retarded. Of course I do. There are plenty of Muslims that I know that are perfectly fine people. It's wonderful.
The bodega.
Right. But when you look at the ideals of Muslim, Islam is the only religion that has not evolved over the centuries. It is still a religion that if you read their holy book, it tells you that death to gay people is perfectly fine. It is absolutely fine. There is no the person who their version of Jesus. So in Christianity you have Jesus, in Islam you have Muhammad. Yeah. Muhammad's a warlord. Yeah. He is, if you read the hadith, he is a warlord. He has conquered, he has fought, he has killed, he has raped, he's married children. In comparison to Christianity, Jesus is just a fucking Jewish hippie. He's just like, yo, don't, if you get smacked me in the face, I'm just gonna turn my cheek because God loves
the New Testament.
Right, but
the Old Testament's filled with just as much heinous shit.
Absolutely. But the New Testament pushes all the Old Testament away. Once Jesus shows up, because the Bible is the combination of both the Old and the New. True. And when you read you read the Old Testament first, and you're like, this is fucked up shit. This motherfucker got eaten by a bear because he's bald. But when you get to the New Testament, Jesus is like, fuck all that shit. I'm the prophet. This is what I tell my followers. Fucking be peaceful.
But none of that matters to me. It's like one of the biggest problems I have with religion. It's like I believe in a higher power. I believe in a God, right?
I don't believe in that.
And that's fine. That's
just
absolutely fine.
As an aside, like I don't like. It's interesting that our two perspectives. Yeah. Because you believe in a higher power. I don't. I believe everything that's in these books is made up by farmers who couldn't write.
I believe in esoteric. I believe in there's something. I believe, my honest opinion, I feel like at one point we were connected and we lost it.
That I can agree with.
It's like whether it was the Ice Age or whether it was like some climactic event, but we got disconnected from whatever the higher power was. We got disconnected. So when I look at religion, I'm like, well, anything related to Christianity, I'm like, no, because Christianity created, or maybe not created is the wrong word, but is responsible for a lot of the shit that goes on in the world. A lot of the hate, a lot of the destruction. And yeah, you got Islam and all that stuff, but Muslim terrorists, they weren't the ones creating a lot of shit. It was like a lot of Christian terrorists, a lot of people going out and doing destruction in the name of God, in the name of a Christian God. And then you have like Muslims reacting to it. So I'm like, I'm not mad at Muslims for reacting to shit where you got Christians going in and invading your land and doing shit.
Well, the thing that
it's like, I look at it like they're both to blame.
No, absolutely.
Neither one is correct.
Oh, absolutely. No, so neither one is absolutely correct.
For me, it's like, yeah, I might post some stuff or I might read some books from Islam, but I'm like, I can never fully commit to Islamic faith or sect or religion or what or faction. Right. Just like I can never fully commit to a Christian
Absolutely.
set faith,
No,
religion,
absolutely.
or faction.
Right.
You know, it's like I'm stuck in limbo.
Well, I don't think you're stuck in limbo. I think you're rational.
Which is why, like a man like me, I'm always into the occult. Like people say the occult like it's a bad thing, but I'm like, no, I'm always into the occult because I always want to learn about stuff.
No, I understand.
But when it comes to like religion, in these ideologies that people have, I'm like, I look at them as, and this is me. You asked me to be truthful, and I'm being truthful.
Be absolutely
as fuck.
truthful. Yeah.
Like I like the Nation of Islam, but could I ever fully commit 100% to the Nation of Islam? No. But I love what the Nation of Islam does for black men and women in America. I love that.
I get it.
Could I ever become a Christian? I tried at one point to become a Christian, the born again Christian. I'll do all that shit. Couldn't do it. Tried to become a Jehovah's Witness. Couldn't do it. It was just like, no, I got questions. I got shit you need to answer and you can't answer it.
Right.
You know, and there hasn't been a religion where when I read about it, I'm like, oh, well, there's been ways of life like Taoism and Buddhism, a way of life where
I
it's
think
like,
Buddhism is the closest to normal.
yeah, it's like I said, it's a way of life.
Right.
But as for religion, there's no religion that I've ever read about where I'm like, I can commit to this.
Right.
Because it's all like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah. There's a lot of things I think.
That's my honest opinion.
No, and then I thank you for sharing that. I mean, when it comes to religion in general, I don't really subscribe to any particular thing. If it comes to because a lot of religion, it comes down to politics at the end, because they're all tied in politically.
Very much.
And that's when I look at statistics. And statistically speaking, at least in this country, you are less likely to die of a Christian mass murder than you are of a... Well,
Depends
actually...
on your race.
Yes, it does. So I guess, yeah, no, you're right. How can I phrase this so that it sounds...
You can't.
Yeah, I guess I can.
You can't.
No,
you can't.
Okay, put it this way. Internationally.
Okay.
You've traveled around the world,
Oh, yeah.
right? I've traveled to less places than you have.
Okay.
And I'm traveling soon abroad to Europe.
Okay.
I have to consider the fact that in places like the UK, France, and other places, there have been Muslim-based attacks. In the United Kingdom and in the UK, Muslims have shown up with fucking machine guns, something I never have to worry about in the United States.
Let me
Right?
tell you this. Let me
Hold on. Before I see what you're about to do. I have never had to worry about the worst I've had to worry about in New York in the United States is being in a building that gets hit by a fucking plane. And that's fairly small, right?
Okay.
In the UK,
I'm going to let you finish.
okay, and I will not say a word until you're done after.
All right.
In the UK, not only have bombs explode at concerts, they've had machine gun happen at Charlie Hebdo, and in France at the fucking Eagles of Death concert.
Well, Charlie Hebdo wasn't in the UK.
No,
it was in
France.
It was in France. Yeah.
What happened in the UK? There was the bombing in UK,
there was
and
a
then
few
there was
bombings.
and there was a shooting.
But it wasn't like machine gun shootings.
No, but there was the bombing of the
And there was
concert.
a lot of truck shit.
Yeah, and then
where they ran people over.
Right,
Yeah.
at the bridge. But then in Paris, there was the Charlie Hebdo, and then there was the Eagles of Death concert.
And there was bombs at the last World Cup.
Right.
That shit was even broadcasted, and then they wiped it out.
Right.
It was
So
like, nope, don't talk about it.
that's happening in places that are very open to immigration.
Yes.
That are very accepting of other countries, refugees, and people. Right. That and solely that, what has happened in that country, in those two countries, let's say the UK and France.
Immigration.
Right. No, but let's say what has happened Christian based that I've had to worry about. Nothing. Not since the fucking Knight Templars have I had to worry about a Christian based. In the United States, it's different because you have the KKK and you have neo-Nazis for whatever fucking, and those fucking retards that think that they're part of Hitler's whatever. Like, I'm not saying the United States is perfect. We definitely have some dumb motherfuckers who think that shit's okay, and it's not, and I think they should be shot in the face. But in like, if I'm traveling around the world, I have zero to fear from Christians in the UK, in Europe, like, and I think I don't think you have to worry about anything either, Christian based. I think you have more to worry about if you decide to go to Istanbul, and you might accidentally get blown up by somebody in Istanbul.
Well, all right.
Would you say that's fair? That internationally, there's more fear of a Muslim terrorism attack than a Christian terrorism attack?
Yes, internationally. But what I will say is, on a global scale, like inside the United States, there's no greater threat to my life than Christianity in the United States.
I agree.
Outside the United States, yeah, Muslim terrorists are on a rise. But I will also say, like, I've traveled a lot of places. I haven't been everywhere. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I've been all this, that, and other. I've been a lot of places, though. And one of the things I always enjoy about wherever I go, it doesn't matter if it's white, black, whatever. People always greet me with a sort of, I can't say respect, but just a simple, like a
Decency?
I guess, for lack of a better word, right? And one thing I read a long time ago, and this is before I started traveling, was it was in a hip hop magazine, and forgot the name. It was a long ass time ago, trust me. But I remember it was a rapper Noriega, right? Nori, N-O-R-A, that dude, and he has said that when he was in Europe, he got more respect from a skinhead in Europe than he did from another black man in America.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, because at the time, and this was like the late '90s, but at the time he was like, yeah, because he in the article goes into detail on why he said that, but he was basically saying like, how the blacks in America, blah blah blah, they do this, they do that, they do this shit, and it was like it was a cool little thing. And this was before I started traveling internationally. So being the person I am now, and I've traveled around the globe, and I continue to travel around the globe as often as I can. I've met all types of individuals, and I've even became friends with people who converted over to becoming skinheads, But it's a different faction of skinheads, It's not Nazi skinheads. We talked about this before. It's like the UK labor movement, that type shit, and
blue collars.
Yeah, but even down in Texas, I met skinheads and I talked to skinheads and I smoked with skinheads. There's what I'm saying.
There's different types. There's different types.
What I'm saying is this. It's like, and I'm not making any justification for anyone, but when it comes to international travel, it is different, and shit happens all over the globe. Horrific shit happens all over the globe. There's no excuse for it. There's fucked up shit. And fucked up shit is happening more and more in Europe, where it hasn't happened in Europe for a long ass time. That's fine. Whether it's Islam or whether it's another faction posing as Islam, it's another issue, right? But traveling abroad as a black man, it's like, I'm telling you, man, it's a feeling. Like living in America all my life, and then every time I go overseas, I'm telling you, dude, it's a sense of peace that I never get in the United States, and I'm straight up. It is a feeling. It is a feeling that I get in the United States, knowing damn well where I go in some place, they're not going to look at me as a threat. And I'm not talking about, they know I'm a foreigner. Mm-hmm. They're not looking at me as a threat because, right. He's a foreigner. He's not a threat. They're not looking at another black man as a threat. And here, don't get me wrong. There's racism. And I face racism overseas, right? But the racism that I faced overseas is never compared to the racism that I faced in the United States. And that is the biggest thing.
Right.
And it's like the racism that I continue, even today, this day right now, as we're recording this shit, I go into the art store, Blix, and I wrote about this plenty of times online, and I go into Blix, and the Blix has tons of people around the fucking art store, and a fucking security guard who happens to be an African American follows me, and I'm like, I just look at him, and I'm like, I know there's tons of other people in this fucking store, and you come to follow me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but I don't even get mad because I'm like, you know what? I'm like, where you're at, I'm bigger than that shit. so I don't even worry about you. If you put your hands on me, I'm gonna fuck you up. You know, so straight up. I've dealt with too many security guards. I'm like, I'm not even worried about you. I will destroy your shit if you came at me. But that's the type of shit I deal with in America, where I go overseas and it's like, I love traveling because it might be violent, it might be terrorist shit, but you know what? I'll deal with all that shit, all of that, whatever will come my way. Then I have to deal with this shit. If somebody gave me a visa to work overseas and to live overseas, and they'd be like, "Yo, man, you can come," I'm like, I'll go, because to deal with that shit over there and to deal with the shit in America is horrific.
That's a really interesting way to think about it.
I'm telling you, man.
So you're saying even with the threat of something like that's happened in the UK or Paris, you would still take that threat, like the possibility of that happening, then deal with the racism you face here in the United States.
Check this out. I went to London. We're in 2018. I went to London in 2016.
Okay.
Right. I didn't travel. I didn't leave the country at all. 2017. 2016. I go over to Europe. I do a little thing in Europe. I bounce around. Right. I'm on vacation. So I meet up with one of my peoples in London. They show me a good time. Show me around. So we start talking one of the nights. You know, I'm doing a whole art thing, but we start talking about like real shit, and I'm like, and one of the topics that come up was like, what the fuck is going on in the States? Because they got Africans in London, they got African Americans in London, but the thing is about London, you're not an African, you're not an African British, you're not an African American, you're British. When you're in London, you're British. When you're born there,
you're British.
You're British. You're not, oh, my people are from Nigeria. I'm a British Nigerian.
That goes back to a whole different thing, though.
But this also goes back to the thinking of the people in Europe.
Oh, let me just jump in there real quick. Sorry, I don't mean to be rude. Do you consider yourself African American, or do you consider yourself American? Because
I hate both those terms. I'm American. 100%.
Okay, so because I just want to be super clear, because I don't want to.
No.
Because
I'll tell anybody.
I tell people. I've been telling people this since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Because my family's Puerto Rican, whatever. They ask you what you are, Latino. There's that whole thing. People ask me where I'm from. I'm like, I'm American. And even when my parents ask me, they're like, why are you not proud to be Puerto? I'm like, it's not that I'm not proud. I'm born in Brooklyn, born in New York. New York's part of America. I'm an American. And I think a lot of people who are black or Latino or mixed will say, I'm wherever, I'm whatever whatever dash American.
Yeah.
Are you like?
I can't speak for them.
Of
course.
Course. Like, but do you consider yourself African American? Are you Are you both? Like, how do you look at it?
If like I have Africa tattoo on my arm,
right,
with Bob Marley in his face, right. But me, I'm American, 100%. Like I always talk about this shit. I'm like, I'm patriotic as fuck. You attack this country, I would not hesitate to defend this shit. You attack the city, I won't hesitate to defend this shit. This is all I know. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh, I'm not American. Like, fuck that. Anybody like my thing is like anybody who doesn't like America, get the fuck out. This is me. This is who I know. Now I'm American as a citizen. My race is African. That's where the term African American comes from.
Is your race human?
No. Like when people talk about like we could sit there and say human race, but let's be realistic. That shit don't exist.
I think it's I think it's ethnicity. Because really, if you look, and again, I'm a fucking stickler when it comes to science. Race, we're all the same race.
Yeah, you can say all that shit all you want. That's fine.
But we are.
But at the end of the day, people are gonna put us in categories.
Of course.
And that's that's what I'm dealing with.
But that comes down to ethnicity, not race.
Hey, call it what you want.
No, I get what you're saying, but it's like, if I cut you on the forehead and you cut me on the forehead, we're gonna bleed the same thing.
Of course, we're gonna bleed the same thing.
We're the same species.
Of course, I'm not. I never disagree.
It just happens that your ancestors were from a different climate.
It's not even that. Race is a man-made category.
Absolutely, it's fake. It's not a real thing.
We should all be the human race. We should all be human beings.
We're all the same monkeys.
But we're not. Like back in what was it, the 20s or the 30s or some shit? They came out with like the whole division of the race. That shit is a modern idea.
Right, no, it's a fictitious idea created by people who are trying to separate ethnicities.
But to keep things simple, I say African American. I don't even like the term black because black's not even a color.
It's the lack of color.
It's a tone.
Wait, is it? Yeah, black. Yeah,
black is it's not a color. Like you said, it's a lack of, it's a tone.
Right.
It's a shade. So when people say, oh, I'm black, I'm like, you're not even a person. You're not even a noun. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not a person, place, or thing. You're not you're nothing. So I don't like to use the term like black. So I'm like, okay, I'm like Negro, because that's just another term of saying black. So I'm like, all right, African American. I'm like, all right, like we've talked about this, and anybody who comes at me, I'm like, first and foremost, I'm as patriot as anybody else. You may fly your flag and all that shit, but who's gonna get up and fight for this country? Like a lot of people talk about they patriots and shit.
Right.
They ain't gonna fight for this country. They got the guns and all that shit. You gonna fight for this fucking country? Like that's what it comes down to. If somebody attacks this country, are you gonna fight for this country? Are you gonna fight for your shit? Are you gonna fight for your freedom? I'll fight for my shit. I'll fight for this country any given day, without question. Right? It's undeniable. It's like I get so frustrated when I hear people divide us on bullshit, and I'm like, yo, we're all arguing over the same shit. It's just different words. You're using different lingo, but we're all suffering the same shit by corporate America. You know, we're all suffering. A working class person is suffering, whether you're black, white, Latino. We're all fucking suffering from the same shit. But I look at when I travel overseas and people approach me and I talk, this is one thing I love about traveling, where, especially because of Airbnb. Airbnb allows me to get into the community where I want to go, right? I don't got to stay in a hotel. I don't got to stay in a hostel. I can stay in somebody's home in the community, right? Because most times Airbnb, you're in a fucking community off the tourist area. And a lot of times when I travel, people they're not like, you're African American, you're black, you're African. They're like, you're not African, you're American. I'm like, cool. And I like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool.
I can see that.
But Americans, we have this whole thing where it's like, you're not American. American is like white.
Yeah, there's a subdivision.
And I'm like, no. But again, African American, I'm like, fine. If this is going to keep things simple, I'll say African American.
Right.
But we're all American.
I agree.
You know?
It's one of those things. I think about it a lot, and it's interesting because everybody has a different definition of it, about what it is to be American, and like if you always learn about it when you go places that aren't America, right?
Yeah, man.
Like when I went to Ecuador, you know, I'm Puerto Rican, but people don't look at me as Puerto Rican.
Nope.
They're like, you're American.
Yep.
You know, doesn't matter what color I am. Doesn't matter.
For me, military.
Right.
You're like, big black man, he's military. Don't fuck with him.
Yeah. You know, I can see. You're like, oh, my family's from Puerto Rico, but I live in New York. You're American.
Yep.
You are born and raised in America. You're an American.
That's like what I was saying about the British thing. It was like, oh, you're born over here. Your family's from here. Like, you're British.
Yeah.
It's like,
and you know, I never really thought about this until I spoke to a person that we both know.
Oh, I did have something to say, but I'll let you finish.
A person that we both know who lives in Germany currently, but was living here when we met her. And she was like, she lives in Germany, but her dad's from Iran.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, you know, when you're born in Europe, you get the passport from wherever your parents are from.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, sometimes you're born in, let's say, Germany, but your family's from Iran.
Yeah.
You get an Iranian passport.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that, because being born and raised in the United States, it doesn't like. Granted, my parents and my family have had it pretty easy because we're born in Puerto Rico, part of the United States, all this and that. So if you're as long as you're born on the United States soil, you get a United States passport, right? Doesn't matter where your parents are from.
Yeah.
Your parents could be from fucking Mars.
Doesn't matter.
You're born in New York, you get a goddamn United States passport.
Yeah.
You're an American, and that's how that works. And that's how the framers, that's how the founding fathers made it.
Yeah.
Right? If you're born on this soil, on this free land, you're an American, you're a free person. Doesn't matter where your parents are from, you're part of this country. And I think that's a beautiful idea. People come here for that. People leave their lives. People risk prison time to come here, start a family so that their children can have that opportunity, because
better future.
it doesn't matter whether I go to jail or not. But if I have a child and they're born here, they're a free person. They're an American. They're entitled to all the things that Americans are entitled to.
Yeah, my best friend's father got deported after being here for like 20 years.
I mean, that's just crazy.
But they got him here. He was born here. It was like,
right. That's what's important when
yo,
you're that.
you gotta get the
I
fuck
think
out.
I think that's gonna very slowly end as time goes forward,
I hope so.
because eventually we're gonna realize that that's a waste of energy and time, right? But that's a very important part of that. But I feel like I've kind of lost the train of my thought. But I feel like it's an idea that most people don't think about, especially people who are born here, that they don't realize that what we experience as Americans is very different from what other people experience, and how people view nationality in general.
That's why, like, the whole immigrant mentality is so strong for like the first and second generation.
It's important to have. It's an important idea to keep in your mind.
Yes,
the immigrant mentality.
We've lost that, like over the third generation.
Right.
It's like,
what am I? I'm my grandmother. If my grandparents were born in other countries, and my parents were born here,
so you'd be third generation.
Well, but does that count if Puerto Rico?
I guess.
How does that work?
Yeah, it's like, okay, say for example, somebody comes here from like Kuwait. Right. So their parents move here from Kuwait. They have the grandchildren. They have the children. Children are brought up here with the whole immigrant values,
so
right?
First generation.
First generation. The second generation children, they may be brought up with the values, but at the same time, they lose them a little bit.
Yeah, they get
because they're indoctrinated into
American.
And that's what happens. We've talked about this where I'm like, yo, I always respect immigrants because they come here and they bust their ass, and you never see an immigrant begging
or complain.
But you see, like every time I come home, it's like, yo, can I get a swipe? I'm like, my man, you got a fresh hat, you got a cell phone, you got clean sneakers, you got gear, and then when I give you a swipe,
yo, I haven't heard that term gear in mad long.
And then when I give you a swipe, it's not even for you, it's for your girlfriend.
I've never seen that. Really, for the girlfriend?
My man, I'm like, what the fuck? Did his girl just go through the turnstile? Like, it's gotten to that point where I'm like, but then I look at immigrants and I'm like, I always respect immigrants, man. I'm like, yo, y'all motherfuckers, y'all come here. I don't know how the hell you get here, whether it's legally or illegally.
I got some stories to tell you,
but
off
I respect that shit.
Yeah.
I respect that shit.
It's crazy.
Whenever I have children, I'm gonna raise them up like, yo, you motherfuckers, we just got here.
Yeah.
All right.
I always think about that shit. I'll be totally honest. I don't really plan on having children. I think my girlfriend wants to have children.
Good luck with that.
Right. So most likely I'll end up having children. And I think it'll be fine. Whatever. But I'm always going to instill with them the idea that, we are very fortunate to have been born on this piece of dirt. And
very much.
And it's an idea I 100% steal from Joe Rogan from listening to his podcast. You don't get to choose you don't get to choose where you're born.
No.
And if you're born on this particular piece of dirt, you're very fortunate.
Very.
Very fortunate.
Don't take that shit for granted.
Absolutely not. That's the thing. You're born on this piece of dirt, and it's not really their fault. They're kids. They're gonna always be ungrateful for whatever. And we've all done that. We've all been, fucking shitty kids. Mm-hmm. But you tell them, and eventually you hope when they get older they realize what you told them, and they absorb it, and they realize, I got very lucky. I was born in this country. It's not there's no perfect country. We have our problems, but this country still gives me the ability to, make friends.
Fucking freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech. Like, what are the odds that you and me became friends? We decided to start training jiu-jitsu at some random school in Manhattan a week apart. I remember the day I met you, John. What's like the odds of, in a country that's so diverse that we would meet? Yeah. Like, it's just one of those things, and I always think about if I have
Remember
children,
when you only drunk like one can of Budweiser?
when I met you, I had never drank any alcohol.
He's like Budweiser, 1 can.
Give me one Budweiser.
That's
the
it.
can. The can has to be red
He
and
looked
white.
like a fucking Mormon.
Right. Give me the small can. It was very different time. I say it like it's the 40s or some shit.
I just remember your Mormon look.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. I was never Mormon. I was Jehovah's Witness, just whatever. But same shit, give or take. But it's one of those things.
He had all the shirts.
Yeah, you tell the you have kids. You're very, and they never understand. You tell them, you're very fortunate to be born because you could be born here. The classic one is, finish your food. They're starving kids in Africa, right?
Yeah.
That's the classic line.
Yeah.
And it's true. The older you get, the more you realize how real that is.
Yep.
As a kid, you think it's some bullshit. But as the older you get, you're like, I really do feel bad about leaving.
Eat all this shit.
Right, because there are people in this world who have nothing.
Yep.
And they're eating fucking dirt. And, I'm over here in this fucking restaurant and I don't have to fucking eat this food. I can literally take a bite out of the steak and then send the rest of it back to the kitchen.
Yep. And
And they'll throw it out and they'll make me a whole new one because I'm unhappy.
Yep.
And you think about it and you're like, it kind of moves you because you realize that there are people that really do need the help. It's just this whole circle of things. I don't want to get emotional, but
like I'm glad I was raised up the way I was.
same here.
Where-
For the most part, I feel like
Like to the people listening, y'all may have heard me mention like, oh, I had a rough upbringing and gangs and all this bullshit. But the way I was brought up, I was always in a mixed neighborhood, right? So it was like either black, white, Latino. When I was in Philly, it was like black, white, Puerto Rican. Go to Vegas, it was like black, white, Mexican. South American, Central American. Go to Texas, it was like black, white, Mexican. And I've always been around like these cultures and these people who just, even when my family wasn't there to push these values on me, my friends and the people that accepted me into their family, they pushed those values on me. And I always got respect for that, man. It's like,
it takes a village to raise a child. And it sounds cheesy, but it's true. It takes more than your mother and your father to raise a person.
Oh, yeah.
It takes your friends' parents. It takes a whole community to raise a person to where they are.
Yeah, and I've seen that hands on, and like growing up in the street, you're like what they call a latchkey kid. It's like certain people will become the elders, right? And you just learn to respect them. They don't really have any authority. They're not gonna discipline you, but you just respect them. And when they talk, you shut the fuck up and you listen to whatever it is they have to say. No matter if they tell you you hear the same story 20 times, you just listen to it. And I don't know. I just love that about the way I grew up.
No, absolutely. Is there anything else you want to touch on? We've had a pretty strong. I think this may be one of our best episodes. We've had a really natural flow.
I think yeah.
I think we've this episode 16.
Yeah.
All right.
We went
deep. We went deep in a lot of different things.
We talked about a lot, man.
That last section on race and perspective of culture.
I can go on about it.
We should probably do a whole episode on just our ideas of different religions and stuff.
One thing I just want to mention, and I kept wanting to go back to this, but when we were talking about going overseas, one of the conversations I had with when I was in London was, why the hell are y'all letting the police shootings happen? Because when I was in London, I asked them about police shootings, and we talked about it and stuff, and they were like, well, there was one time in London where a cop shot a kid, because the police don't carry guns, and generally the police don't carry guns, but it was one incident where a police officer shot a kid, and they went crazy. Everybody boycotted and protested and shut that shit down, where they were like, this will never happen again under any circumstance, man, unless it's like a dire situation. And I was like, they were like, what's up with the states? Why do y'all continue to let this shit happen?
Well, I think we should kill most children. No, I'm just kidding.
It was an interesting conversation.
No, it's very interesting to get a perspective.
Like, what's wrong with y'all?
the thing is, okay, I don't want to get into this huge conversation because this could be another 3-hour conversation. But whenever anybody compares any place to the United States, like especially with the UK, it's a big thing. Is the UK anything like the United States? Absolutely
Not even close.
Not even close.
No.
It's a different thing.
Yeah.
Is the United States perfect? No, not at all.
Not by a long shot.
No. Would I want to live in the United Kingdom? No.
I would.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Not even a little bit. Maybe we should leave that conversation for the next episode.
I'd take a passport
Episode
in a second.
17. Why would Chico and the Grin either choose to or not to?
If my girl
live in the
gets a
United
job
Kingdom?
over there, I am moving.
I would never live in the United
never-
Kingdom.
I
I
would
would never
never come back.
voluntarily move to Europe.
Like I got a boy living in Japan. He's
I would-
married with a kid. He was like, I'm never coming back.
I would never move to Japan. I would never move to Japan ever. I'd be like, yo, if shit happens, how are you gonna protect your family? Will you fucking karate? No. In the United States, you can fucking have a fucking arsenal. That literally, and I know people are gonna be like, you're fucking crazy. Why? Like, no, literally in the United States, I could have in my bedroom, I could have an M16,
Yeah,
and I could have a spear.
but that is not going to save your life.
No, it's not. But you know what? It's going to give me a fighting chance. In Japan, it's going to at least give me the feeling that I can achieve that.
So you're saying in Japan there's no guns?
In
Because there's a lot of guns.
And you know who has them? The cops in the Yakuza. Are you either of those two? Nope. You know who you are? You're that guy with a body pillow of an anime character. That's who you are. You're sitting there going, arigato gozaimashita. I want more ramen. Where's the next episode of Naruto? That's what
I've never
most
watched
people are.
Naruto in my life.
I have. I love that anime. It's fantastic. Chico and the Grin, episode 16.
Yes.
We're pulling it to a close because we're almost at 3 hours.
Wow.
Right? This may be the longest episode we've done without microaggression.
Yeah.
All right. We will be back
Better mics.
with way better mics.
We can put this up right now.
I think we're going to do that. We're going to go
Yeah.
right. So we'll be back in a week and a half,
Yep.
right? No.
Yep.
Yeah, week and a half. And
Black Panther tomorrow.
Black Panther. You're going to see Black Panther tomorrow. I'm going to see it on Friday after work.
Yeah.
Next episode will contain our reviews of Black Panther. You're very excited. I can hear it. You're very excited. We need to go back to the bar to try those nachos.
Yes.
Well, I've tried the nachos. I know
What's the name of the bar, guys?
Twins Bar.
Twins Bar
So
on
Twin-
10th Avenue, right?
9th.
9th Avenue.
Twins Bar, 9th Avenue between 34th and 33rd. They have a nacho. They call it an appetizer, but it's a fucking full meal. It's like a giant.
Even the waitress was like, "Yo, this shit is huge."
I had it. I ordered it by myself one time. It was an immediate regret because it was so much. But
Yeah.
you're a nacho whore, and so am I.
I
So
am. Yeah.
I kind of wish we would have seen Black Panther at the same time so we could get nachos after or before. We'll
When you
figure it
say,
out.
wait, when are you saying it?
What are you doing next Tuesday?
Fucking Friday.
I'm
'cause
doing
you
it
get
off
off early.
1. Maybe next Tuesday. What are you doing on Tuesdays?
Fuck Tuesday. Fucking, we could do the matinee on Harlem, 125th.
Yeah, but then we gotta go downtown for the fucking nachos. All right, we'll figure out the nacho thing.
There's no matinee downtown
Maybe, but you're not off on Tuesdays.
on Sunday morning.
I work Sunday.
God damn it.
Exactly. Well, we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us, episode 16, Chico and the
You
Grin.
could bring your fucking portable shit.
That's right.
Yeah.
Leave reviews, Instagram, iTunes, Google Play, Facebook,
Yes.
Instagram,
Yes.
any place that you want to get in touch, contact us. Happy to talk with you. Let us know. We're always trying to grow. If you're a sponsor,
Let us know. We're always trying to grow.
we're always trying to grow. Let us know if you're a sponsor. We'd be more than happy to show for you as long as
Depends
you
on
like
your
your
shit.
product. Yeah. If you make some bullshit, do not contact us.
Don't even try.
If you're a company that makes paintbrushes, let us know. If you're a company that makes camera lenses, let us know.
Fuck yeah.
If you're an artistic company that makes a product for artists, let us know.
Yeah.
Squarespace, you sponsor Mad Motherfuckers. Let us know.
Yep.
I use Squarespace. John happens to use WordPress.
GoDaddy for life.
GoDaddy. We both use GoDaddy. GoDaddy
I thought you just said you use Squarespace.
as just for the website, but for my domain, I use GoDaddy.
Oh, okay.
So, GoDaddy, if you are looking to sponsor places, we are happy
Fuck
to
yeah,
take
give me a
your
discount,
sponsorship.
motherfuckers. I've been with y'all for like
Absolutely.
over
Chico and the Grin.
15 years.
Chico and the Grin, purchased on GoDaddy.com, created on WordPress, let us know.
Yep.
So, John, where can we see more of your work?
You can hashtag Art by Smalls or just go to johnsmalls.com.
For myself, if you'd like to see more of my photographic work, you can go to sgomezphoto.com or check me out on Instagram at _Stephen Gomez on Instagram. You can find us there. Yes. We will see you on the next episode. Take it easy. We'll see you then.
Peace.